Ladies
Wow.
and gentlemen, Honeybeard, Michael Oakley in the house with me in person tonight. Say hello, everyone.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey guys, an absolute pleasure to meet you all for the very first time.
Nice to meet you as well.
Good to meet you, Thorson.
It's so nice to see everyone.
Julian's with us.
Oh, Julian. Hi, Julian.
Julian is currently plugged into Toronto's Transit Authority mainframe, trying to figure out a massive hack. That's what he's up to.
I'm a bit out of the loop here. Who's Julian?
Julian Neon Fox.
Oh, Neon Fox. Well,
yeah,
all right.
Julian Green.
Look at Michael's t-shirt.
Calling me an idiot. All right. Well,
we know him as Neon Fox. Let's call him Jules.
Juju Beans.
Indeed.
Jules. I also know him as Jules. Yeah, Julian. It's more. I don't know. It's, I guess, a sophisticated version of his name. Anyway, I digress. How are you all doing today?
Good.
Grant. A little bit okay.
Everyone's in Canada, right?
Canada.
Oh, yeah.
We're in different cities, though, funny enough.
So where are you guys, and where's Michael Oakley and where's Tom?
So I'm in the city of Toronto, and Tom, well, he lives in Hamilton, but I don't know where he's working today.
I'm currently in Milton.
Oh, God. The butthole of Ontario. And Michael Oakley is...
Niagara. Near the falls, not too
far. Are you
far.
really near the falls? I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
15 minutes away.
So, you can go to New York, you can just, dive into the falls and then swim up to New York.
Yeah, Buffalo,
yeah.
pretty much.
Have you ever done it?
It's really beautiful.
Buffalo's like the budget New York, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it's budget New York, Buffalo. All right. Well, we're here tonight because Honeybeard just released, or no, we'll be releasing. Actually, depends on when we air this show.
Released on the 18th.
On the 18th. Okay. Has already released. We do this all the time because it's all pre-recorded. So this is normal. Has released a new record called Oneros. And it's already available on Bandcamp, and it's right now it's on Bandcamp, right? It's not on streaming services yet.
Oh, no, it's gonna. Yeah, you're right. It's going to go out in Bandcamp. It's out on Bandcamp. Sorry, just time displacement. I'm not used to it. So it's out on Bandcamp on our site, but also on Retro Reverb's site. And then I think we're going to give it about 2 or 3 weeks before we put it on streaming platforms, just to give it an opportunity to sell. And I know we don't like streaming platforms, but you have to roll with the modern punches. So we'll probably stick it up then 2 weeks or 3 weeks afterwards.
We can
maybe. Yeah, have you already written the Spotify pitch? Because maybe that's what you should write. We don't really like.
I'm just going to worry about
platforms, but you got to do what you got to do, and here we are coming to you.
Dear Spotify editors, I am writing this pitch because I have to, but I really don't want to be in Spotify.
I know, actually, Elixir. She's gonna be, I think, next week. She did something like that. She was like, "Hey, Spotify, what the fuck? You haven't updated the playlist in like months." Yeah. And I thought it was pretty cool, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Interesting.
But Oneros is your second full length record, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And then it's the first time you guys are doing vinyl.
Yeah.
And that's also on pre-order. And do you know when? This is the notorious question. Do you guys know when approximately the vinyls will ship out?
Tom?
Do I know? We've been told we've been told Christmas, but
Christmas this year.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh wow! So you guys already did it all way.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
been
a while ago.
A while ago. Ah, so smart. Yeah,
that's
cool.
Oh, it's Christmas.
That's what we were told originally. It should be shipping by that time.
Oh, right. I thought it was actually ready to go on the 18th.
No, I don't think so.
Might not be real shipping date. Terms and conditions apply.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the vinyl shortage. The supply chains really affects a lot of artists out there. I think Cole tried to circumvent that by ordering the vinyl. I think he did it through Q rates or whatever it's called. He did that quite a long time ago. I think as soon as Michael, we finished mixing and the master came back from Pete Marr, that was in June or July. Like that's when he put the order in. So hopefully it'll be ready by Christmas.
And you guys just like waited this entire time and waited weeks before the vinyl's ready. That's when you guys aimed your scheduling for your release. So this record has been done for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then you guys just bought enough, like, time for the vinyls to get into production.
Yeah, the songs have actually been written. So I did a mix and master of the songs last year, and then we were listening to it and adding to it, and I was like, these are shite. These shite mixes. I need to put the like a bat signal in the air to see if I could attract a top class producer, And it was in the form of Michael Oakley.
Yeah.
So we got chatting. I know I've revealed your secret identity. And then, so we got working on that. I had to bring it up to a level. He was listening to it. And then I think around June, we did the mix. And then I sent it off to Peter Marr in London to do the master. So it's been ready since. We kind of kept pushing back because we wanted to give that breadth of time for the vinyl.
Yeah.
Ordered. So we won't get stuck in that 6-month or 12-month trap. And also give us an opportunity to do a couple of videos.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and your videos are awesome. And Michael Oakley. Yeah, we heard through the grapevines that Michael Oakley helped you guys with this record. That's why we also invited him. And I thought it was just like a great opportunity to get everyone together and to get all you guys in the show. And so, like, what was the experience like, working together? So I know Gaz and Tom, you guys have been working for quite some time. You've had this project since 2012, Mike, right?
12, yeah.
And then, like, how did you guys meet? What was the dynamic like in terms of your progress and your journey, both as musicians and as a band together?
Well, we met early 2012, and Gary got on me right away about. He found out I played a few instruments, got on me right away to join his band that didn't exist, and we started from there. So we kind of got off the hop playing like folk music, guitar stuff, and then eventually it evolved slowly into Honeybeard, which is where we are now, I suppose.
Yeah, Reed was born out of our wish not to work with drummers. Because I'd worked with, I'd been in a bunch of bands in Ireland, and it was for some reason, not that this is a slight on drummers as a stereotype or in general, but one particular asshole that I dealt with in 2 bands he was just too much. So, we were writing sort of alt folk stuff, like Moldy Peaches type music, but we were also learning some, I guess, covers just to get started, get our dynamic going. And that's when we discovered Logic. And Tom discovered it, and because we were going to look at some drum machines, and we didn't know too. We did get one drum machine, but it was a pain in the ass to program. We weren't always in time with it, so we found Logic, and just from learning to do backing tracks there, then we discovered that we could use the synth for a couple of stuff, and then it just opened up the palette of what we could do in terms of writing songs. And then, of course, like everyone else in the scene, I already was on the Drive buzz. I had listened to it in Ireland, and I saw the movie in 2010, bought the soundtrack, deleted all just the Martinez music. That doesn't interest me at all. But I listened to all the sort of synth pop songs with the vocals in it, with the exception of the Chromatics. Their cool little interlude thing they have was brilliant. And when I came over, I was still listening to it, and I was like, I really like this music. It's kind of what I'm into, but I wouldn't know where to start. I'm not getting a drummer. So eventually then when we discovered that we could use Logic, and Tom had a Mac, right? I didn't, but then I got one because it just opened up the possibilities. And then myself and Tom, we found ourselves writing synth music. I grew up in the 80s, so I had like a wealth of synth music in my background, synth pop, that kind of stuff. And my dad was a big Jean-Michel Jarre fan, so I grew up with that too. So it kind of just made sense. And then time after time, we found it pretty easy to write all these songs and not to depend on anybody else except ourselves. And that's how it kind of was born. I think we played our first show in November 22nd, 2014.
Awesome. Where did the name come from? Honeybeard. Who's got the honey beard?
This is a question we get asked all the time because it's such a stupid name for a synth band.
I like it.
I like it too.
Stupid.
I think it comes from literally what it sounds like. Gaz uses honey to coat his throat before every show. Every Honeybeard show you'll see a little honey pot on the table next to Gary because he chugs it like
I like it.
he chugs it down to help his singing voice, and it gets stuck in his beard.
So eventually, like back before in Ireland, when the economic crash happened, and I was sitting in a house that I was renting that I couldn't afford anymore. I lost my job, lost cars. It was myself, my wife, and our roommate. And I was in a band, and I sang a lot of falsetto in this band. I played guitar. It was kind of alt rock, perfect circle type band. And
Nice.
at that time, we were playing a lot of shows. We were rehearsing 2-3 times a week. My throat was done, but it was a mess because I just lost my job because everything was falling apart in 2008, 2009 in Ireland. I know Canada didn't really get hit too bad. That's one of the reasons why I'm over here. Is for
Probably. I know who's to blame for that. Actually, guys, it's drummers.
drummers.
It's their fault. You know.
I think most of the bond holders and the landlord class, I think they're mostly drummers. I think you're right.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it for a fact. Actually.
Drummers.
So so Carson, we need to talk about drummers after this. Sort them out. That's what, and that's what happened. So I was, as Tom put it, and I still do it to this day. But one time I woke up like in a mess, like 1 a.m. My wife went off to girlfriend and son went off to work, and because I got a small severance check, and I was drinking and smoking the whole thing. And I just woke up with honey all stuck. I had a big long beard because just imagine a guy down and out, wearing a string vest, his underwear, slippers, just hairy mess. So at that time when I couldn't, the honey was stuck in there. I got to shave this off, and then when I cleaned up my face, I kind of cleaned up the rest. And I wrote a song called Honeybeard then, and then that kind of name kind of stuck. So it was either that or it was like Laser Leg 1947 or
I was gonna say.
I don't know. But even that time
That's the peak period of synth music.
1987.
Yeah, we weren't in synth music at the time. Like we were folk stuff. So it could have been like the Banjo Boys or and Tom will tell you, like that the name goes against us in this bloody city, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, Honeybeard was a better name when we were playing kind of alt folk music. Suited the genre better.
I like it though. I like it for Synthwave because it could have been like Neon Marvel 1987 or
But at least the bookers, when you said Neon Marvel 87, okay, they're synth guys. We'll book them for synth show. But we had bookers contacting us, and we find ourselves like in folk bars, with people with double basses, banjos, fiddles, and then we come in with our lasers and smoke, and we gas everyone out of it, and we're playing all this electronic music, and everyone leaves. Do you know what I mean? And even the sound guy's having a heart attack because he doesn't know what to do. So we've had some bum shows here in Toronto because of that, because of the name, I think.
How did you meet Michael Oakley? How did Michael Oakley come into this picture?
Yeah, it was. I think our ancestors met about 400 years ago on the battlefields of the British Isles.
Yes, this is a story that I've always wanted to hear.
Yeah, the Oakleys and the Conlons. We saw a lanky Scotsman on the stage of Outland 2019 with the sunglasses and playing some groovy music. That's the first time I actually laid eyes on the man. And so I was like, oh, wow, okay. And then I think we met Michael just through piss-ups in Toronto then, wasn't it?
That's a good question, actually. Because Outland was just sort of a daze. I felt like that whole day just went like that. It just was like within a finger snap, the whole thing was over because you're just so in the middle of it all. But I'm trying to remember where we met.
Tilt. That's it. It was
Tilt.
Yourself and Linda came one time. We had a chat about
Was
something.
that when Nick was over? Betamax?
Yes. Oh God! Wow, that was a hazy night. Yeah, that's when Nick was over.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah, because that's when
Betamax.
Dana was out. Haley came out. Mecha Michael. Holly was there as well. I don't think Brad was there.
Andy Last was there, the maniac.
Andy was there. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
right. Wow, that's like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a new blossoming friendship.
Yeah.
Kinship.
Oh, wow.
We worked on the tracks in this very room actually.
Oh, so you guys mixed in your room,
Right.
Yeah.
at your studio.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I had suggested coming over here and doing it because I kind of like it's funny, like if I'm ever like working on mixing stuff, like I kind of enjoy like showing people like what I'm doing so that they can walk away with, I guess, a sense of like, oh, so that's why you did that.
Right.
Oh, okay. And then it's like it's more than just like a job. It's like you're sort of like, look, this is how you do this. This is what you use
Yeah.
for here. This is
For
why
sure.
I'm using this reverb. This is why I'm layering this thing here. You sort of, it becomes a bit more than that. So yeah, it was quite funny. I would say that we actually did the mixing in probably an unconventional way.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's not the way I would usually mix tracks because we
Mhm.
we decided to sort of do it in a sort of marathon. A marathon where we sort of were like guys that came over and stayed here, and we basically
Nice.
just basically like spent from morning till night just getting through what we could get through. I think we managed to average 3 songs mixed per day. There was one day where we only did 2.
Only 2. Yeah. All right.
And it's funny because
Oh wow!
you
This is
have
blowing my mind.
well, the thing that by come 9 o'clock, I was switched off. Your brain switches off. But it's quite interesting because I get into this habit of like just taking my time. You know what I mean? And you're sort of like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, I'll just come back to it later. I'll go for a walk and I'll just work on it tomorrow. And you think that by doing that somehow that means that the process gets some kind of more sacred element to it, but it's not. I mean, you take something at face value and then you're literally trying to take it from here to here. And it's and it's got nothing to do with time, really. If you realize that you're making decisions like that without, you're like, no, we don't have time for this. Do you like that or do you not like that? Maybe we should change this. Yes. Okay, let's look and we'll change this. And we were quite militant about it, I would say. The decisions we were making were very sort of like as if your life depended on it, because you were aware of the fact that you were only here for that one night and then coming back the following week. So it was quite, I would say that's actually a much better process of doing it if you've got the mental stamina to sort of be able to sit and do that type of intense mixing work. I think the process is better. I think the end result's better as well.
You started.
That's admirable, yeah.
Michael would start early in the morning. I'd be in bed and he'd be there working away. And you have this like big thing of, was it cold coffee?
In the summer, I like cold coffee.
Oh, it's horrible. It's this.
It's called a cold brew.
It's cold brew.
It's like
it's cold brew.
It's horrible. Anyway, I took a sip of it and politely sort of like, oh, thank you. So anyway, it's rocket fuel for this man because you would forget to eat. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go to shops and get myself some, jellies and chocolates and ice cream. And they're blah, blah, blah. And he's just there. No thanks. You did like something that I got you, some sort of chocolate.
Lint 90% dark.
That's it. Yeah. So I kept him sweet. But yeah, it was also very humbling, right? Because it's like Michael would be like, see that? Well, we're going to take all of that away, being all the drums that I put down. So he would just scrub the drums, and he would put in better drums. Because one thing that people know about Michael that I've found out is that he's a walking library of sounds in his head. It's almost like you're connected wirelessly to a massive library of music and sounds. He could just pull out, oh, I know what this is going to be. And he would just look for it straight away. He'd pull out all these programs that I don't have a clue what the fuck they are. And he would just pull them out, work on it, and things sound amazing immediately. So it was very humbling to realize that if I had that ability, and if Tom had that ability, that we would be so much better from scratch, So that was very humbling. Thanks, Michael. But it was good. You don't get the best for no reason.
I have a philosophy that once you've got a demo, you build from the back. It's one of those things, isn't it? You can build the drums, but then the drums relationship with the bass they have to be like that. And if you can get that where the drums and the bass are like that together, it doesn't really, everything else that kind of sort of starts to layer on top and its groups, it kind of seamlessly sort of works. But if your drums and bass aren't
locked in, yeah.
shit, the whole thing is not working. It does not sound good, So I have that building from the back philosophy of when I work on demos. But it was very interesting because I had heard the demos. We had a couple of phone calls about it. We were talking about the demos. I had a listen through to see what I think, because I'm kind of like I have this sort of thing where I don't work on music that I don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'll only work on stuff if I feel like I connect with it and that I can actually do something with it. And I really like the demos. So I think I even said that to you at the time. If I'd listened to these and I'm not really into them, then I don't know if I could really do anything. But I just feel like you get the best out of the whole thing if you really genuinely enjoy what you're working on. And I like the demos. They were very. It was a diverse group of stuff, and I like the fact that they had this sort of indie kind of electronic rock sort of feel to it that it had some. I think a lot of these genres you can easily say, oh, that sounds like sort of synthwave, but you can sort of say New Order, Pet Shop Boys sounds like synthwave based on their tracks, whereas with this it was a lot more shoegazy. I think shoegazy sort of synth indie sort of rock kind of sound thing, which I'm into that. I like that type of music. I love Robin Guthrie. I love Cocktail Twins, and I just felt like this will be good. This isn't just the same old synthwave shit that I hear all the time. This is something quite interesting. I can really work with this and work with a lot of long decay, reverb, delay type effects. And make it a lot more ethereal and a lot more dreamy sounding, which I thought, your music has that quality to it.
It has a flavor, and then you guys have a nice DNA that, like, when I first, I first discovered you guys because of Black Skies. I think that was the first time that I was like, the first offering that I from you guys that I saw, and I was like, oh, these guys are they're cool. Like, they're not super synthwave. They're very it's still synth based, but it has a nice vibe to it and a nice flavor. And then hearing, the new singles and, tracks from, like, your upcoming record, I think it's nice to see you guys develop an identity that really stands out, and it really goes beyond the paradigms of, like, what synth-based music should be, and it has a nice flavor. And I love the fact that you guys also decided to work with Michael Oakley, because I always believe we always need another voice when you're working on a project, or you're working especially in a massive record. And someone who could really help give another perspective to how to deliver the music. And like, what you said, like, you Michael helped with like, a lot of the production elements in terms of like, okay, bring in some additional drum samples, because you guys hate drummers. And I think that's like, I feel like that's always like, no matter what, whether you're a band or you're a single artist, I think it's always good to have that. And then I know, Michael, like when you were working on Odyssey, which actually just dropped recently. I'm gonna pull up the flyer for
Oh,
that.
hey, look, hey.
um, you also work on some songwriting with Ollie Ride, and then
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Whenever I've worked on my own stuff, I work with other people to help me with the process as well. So I
Mhm.
think when you work in your own stuff, you can become you get myopia. You sort of
Mhm.
you work on something for so long that you really do become immune to sort of taking it any further forward. So you sort of are like, oh, right, I've taken this as far as I can, but it's not quite exactly where I want it to be. So you've got to have that trust of giving it to someone else and saying,
Right.
what do you think? And
Yeah, I think another thing that you lack is that objectivity that you were speaking of earlier. You kind
absolutely,
of get stuck in loops. I know that because I do, and I work on my own stuff, and I'll spend 2 solid days working on a piano bridge part when someone else doing it would do it in like 15 minutes. So yeah.
mm. I mean, it's when you do that, it's obviously that's you really kind of imbuing your own identity within the whole thing. That's the thing. It's so my philosophy on it is so long as you've put your identity in it before you hand it over, then
Mhm.
you're not going to lose that. I think. I mean, I worked with a few people in the last record. I worked with Brother Tiger. I always work with New Division because John and me are, we're really
Mhm.
good friends, and I feel like I've had these people that I've worked with since the beginning, and they know you. They know what you like. It's why I work with Brad Canan on all my videos, because Brad knows what I like and don't like now in a way that I don't even know. He'll just like, we're on shoots, and he'll just say to me something like, you know, don't bother with that. You're not gonna like the end result, and I'll be like, yeah, you're probably right. It's one
Yes,
of those things. But I do. I think it's important to work with other people. I think the
yeah,
whole
absolutely. I
collaboration.
think it's I think it's really cool too, and also like having that extra voice box and the whole push and pull dynamics, like really bring out some really interesting results. And speaking of visuals, you brought up Brad Canan and like both of you guys. Actually, pretty much this entire episode is just music videos by Honeybeard and Michael Oakley. Yay! I threw it an Ollie right in there just to like just to like shake things up a bit.
Yeah.
But the reason why I did it is because both of you guys are not just excellent musicians, excellent artists, but you guys do bring that extra care to your visuals and to your imagery, to your branding, and especially the music videos. That's why I'm really excited. Um, and speaking of music videos, let's take a look at another Honeybeard music video, which I really love. It's called Like a Fire. When did you guys film Like a Fire?
2019 in Ireland.
So this is relatively recent. Okay,
Yeah.
here you go. Let's take a look at Like a Fire. All right, I love the hand.
Great moves.
Yeah, yeah,
Great,
those are
great moves.
really, really
Exquisite
cool moves.
and exquisite drums as well. Just goes to show you that you
Nicely
don't need
programmed.
no
Yes.
drummers.
Drummers, yeah, you don't need drummers anymore. Screw them. Hear that, drummers?
I
Screw
thought,
them.
hey, Serena, come on. Last week you were just, or a couple of
I
weeks ago, you
know.
couldn't stop talking about drummers. Guys, well done. You've
No, I love
converted.
a real no. Well, hold on here. I love a really excellent rhythm section for sure. Yeah, to
Mhm.
me, that is my obsession. But I have been doing my own drums too. So yeah, screw drummer.
There you
Again,
go.
the drumming thing, it was just a personal experience that ruined everything. Like I put 4 years. I was actually going to take time off college at the time. This guy was like, yeah. I'm going to do this. Like the same ambitions as you, but he did not. He just wanted to play in the small town I came from and get all the chicks and just be an asshole, narcissist, whatever. So, but another thing too, if you're there's a lot of stairs in a lot of venues in Ireland. And this guy wouldn't carry his own drums up, so I'd have to carry them up with me, right? So you know it's like carrying a full drum set. It's not nice. So it's not having a drummer means you also have more space to stick in stuff. Logistic.
All right. So I have prepared some quick fire questions for you all.
Ooh, this is my favorite.
Yes, there's 9 overall. There's no rules really. You can all shout over each other. You can all, answer accordingly to each other. But anyway, let's kick it all off with the first question. which is a simple favorite song of all time.
The Doors, like The End by The Doors.
Okay.
Tom,
You
Michael.
know what? Recent new song that I've really enjoyed is "In This Shirt" by the. I'm gonna forget the band. Is it Irrepressibles or something?
Festivals, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's a remix by it. It's been replaying past like 6 months for me.
Okay, that's new. Something fresh. I like it. Something to check out for all. And Michael.
It depends what mood you catch me in, you see. But I'm quite a melancholic sort of person, so I usually flip between, like, I love Boys of Summer, Don Henley. I think that song just always seems to creep its way back in to me. And I also love Tinseltown in the Rain by the Blue Nile. So one of those two. You could fling any one of those two at me and I'd be happy.
Nice, yeah, excellent choice. I think this question, I said it was simple, but it's not really, is it? No one has just one favorite song, right? You have like
I
five.
would listen to those songs.
Well, I mean, okay, Gas, you're the exclusion. You hate drummers and you have one favorite song. All right.
The end of laughter and soft lights, these of nights we try to die. This is the end.
Very good.
Sorry, guys. I'm putting a spanner in your works there.
Second question. What was the last thing you ate? Let's go with Michael first here.
Because he just ate.
Yeah, I just ate a blueberry lemon muffin. So the crumbs are on the floor right there in the box. Easy.
I ate a ham and cheese sandwich.
I don't know if a piece of gum counts, but I just finished a piece of gum.
If you
Did
swallow
you swallow it? Did you swallow it?
No, I spat it out.
Then you didn't eat it, did you?
Like, the last thing I ate would
Protein shake.
be, what did I have for lunch today? I had some a sausage, actually.
A sausage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loves the sausage.
What kind of sausage?
I have no idea what the meat was. It was my wife packed it for me in my lunch.
Did you just pack a cold sausage in your lunchbox?
I warmed it up, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Just like sausage by itself.
And
Frankfurter.
and a pepper with rice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Pepper with rice.
and the gum. Let's not
Like
forget about the
and
pizza.
Gum inside it.
And some gum. Yeah.
Well, I had some tortellini. But hey, this isn't about me. This is about you. So let's go to question number 3. Guitar or saxophone?
Guitar.
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 Ouch.
Sorry,
Ah.
Carson.
Sorry, Thor.
Sorry, buddy.
Well, no, I knew I was getting into. I mean, seeing the guitars, I almost deleted this question. I was
It's only because we can't play.
Yeah.
There's not enough versatility. That's the problem, you know. Guitar covers such a broad spectrum. Saxophone, you're left kind of 2 or 3 shades.
I've seen this guy
Yeah,
on
true.
TikTok who adds saxophone solos to songs that don't need saxophone solos. I kind of enjoy that. That's kind of cool.
That is cool. Every song needs a saxophone solo.
Yeah.
You're welcome to fight me on that.
I think that's what.
Carson, you should put like you should connect your instrument to, you know, like a chorus pedal and a flanger and stuff. You know what I mean?
I
don't know how
tried
you
it.
do
I tried it on a song actually. I put it through all sorts of pedals to the point that you couldn't really. It just sounded like a guitar by the end.
Oh, nice. You can shred with your sax.
Kind of, yeah. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, totally.
Carson's happy with that.
Okay, 4th question. This is a long one. Okay. So we're going with Tom first on this one. Would you rather go through your entire life never being allowed to wear socks or never be allowed to have windows in your house?
Can I still go out? Like, is there doors to get outside?
Sure,
Stuck
you can have
inside?
a door. There's one door.
Or so I can still access the outside?
You can, yeah, you can access the outside.
And I guess, does it matter where I live? Can I choose where I live?
Oh,
Just living
Tom.
in Canada, wearing no
Hang on
socks.
a minute, Tom.
Whatever
That's
house you move into, the
That's the
the
question.
real estate agent comes in and removes all the windows, and you're not
Okay.
allowed to do anything.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go. I'd rather have windows, so I'd go without socks.
You go without socks. Okay.
Who's
Gas.
next? I would definitely go without socks. You need windows for many reasons. First of all, to let light in because you get depressing inside, especially in Irish winter and especially in a Canadian winter. But also to see your enemies coming so you can get ready to fortify.
Okay, a full-on report on why you need windows.
Yeah. But socks, I mean, I've got hobbit-like feet anyway, so they would, walking, once it's got shoes, I mean, socks are just fancy free.
Okay, Michael.
Well, I'm a Mac user, so fuck Windows. I keep the socks. But in all honesty, I mean, you can't go outside without your socks anyway, so you're getting the best of both worlds if you just take the socks and go outside.
Philosophical.
Whoa, that's very
Attach.
yeah.
Who looks
That is,
outside their window anyway? You've got YouTube. You can just like have Tibet in the background, the Pitala Palace. Oh my God, I'm in Tibet. Look at the television screen.
That's a fair point. I think
That is
I
a
don't
good
know which
point.
one. Yeah, I think I'd go without the windows as well.
Whoa.
You'd save money on heating bill. Yeah, that's where you lose your heat through the windows.
Unless you have tempered glass. Then
Imagine the amount of socks you can buy with the money that you save on not having to buy windows.
imagine if you knew how to knead your socks, you'd never have to buy any more.
Yeah, but like, have you ever been in the rain and you put in your shoes and they're wet and you don't have any socks and it's like sticky and it hurts and you get like the sore heel and it's a mess. It's a big mess.
It would hurt the sock puppet industry.
It would completely collapse the sock puppet. But imagine now your cabin was full of moths. They're not going to try and go to the window. They're going to eat your socks up.
All right. Well, okay. This has evolved into a whole discussion. I did not imagine.
Yeah, question 5.
Question 5. Roland or Yamaha?
Roland.
Roland, I don't care either way. Roland.
Yeah, I don't think I'm big enough synth guy to really know the difference.
I own a System 1. Roland System 1. That's okay.
Yeah, Roland. Easy.
Yeah. Which name sounds cooler, Tom? Just go with that.
Yamaha.
I'm just gonna jump in that and say Roland.
Roland. Yeah.
For sure.
Team
Oh wait.
Roland all the way.
I'll
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I'll go with everybody else then. Roll. Sounds good.
All right. So okay. Fuck drummers. Fuck Yamaha. Question 6. Would you rather own 1 cat or 10 parrots?
1 cat.
1 cat.
Do the parrots talk?
Of course
Yeah,
they
they talk
do.
to each other.
I think I'd go with the cat.
Okay.
10 pairs. That's like overkill. That's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of poop.
Exactly.
Yeah. I kind of figured what was gonna happen. Would you rather own 10 cats or 1 parrot though? Oh, look at it.
10 cats.
I'd go with 10 cats. I'd go with 10 cats over 1 cat almost.
I've got
Why?
4. I've got
I don't
4.
know. They're
4 cats.
why not? You know.
What's the name of your cat?
Her name's Penny.
Oh,
Aw.
hi, Penny. Oh,
She's a
She's
sweetheart. And
adorable.
yeah, she looks so
she
cute.
loves Tom, by the way. Loves him.
You look like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Next time. Next time. Yes. Michael, you promised me now that you would, because I know Dustin was ill. I'd love to see him.
He's down. He's sleeping. I could go and grab him if you want.
I know, right? He's probably outside the door. I know he was outside the door when we were mixing.
Let me see if he's at the door.
Episode. I should bring Hamlet in too, but he's not a cat. He's a fat bulldog.
He's a little. Penny's enjoying what she's looking at here, aren't you, Pen?
I love
Look
how
at her.
how calm she is.
Yeah, she's like.
So when Tom comes over here, he sleeps on the couch because he lives in a different city, and Penny will go over and sleep on his chest.
Oh,
Oh, that's cute.
how
Yeah.
old is she?
Awesome.
Yeah, how old is Penny?
Tom has a dog. Oh, here's Tom.
Oh, there he is.
There is.
Dustin.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
hello.
Good boy.
Hey, look, you saying hello?
Hey, Dustin.
Hi.
Oh, this is by far my favorite episode.
Lost.
Oh,
My dad.
Hey, Dustin.
Aw.
Michael, I love all the cat posts as well on Twitter. I'm a huge fan of them.
I know. I get so. There you go, son. There you go. Enjoy your life.
He was like, bye.
I find them more interesting than my bullshit. So, you know, I just love to share their lives. They don't even know. That's probably the best part. They don't even know about social media.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. Well, I've been wanting to play this music video because Michael, when Michael dropped Odyssey, we played the Glasgow song on air, and then I've been wanting to play this one. It's Is There Anybody Out There by Michael Oakley. Let's do it.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again, or call your operator to help you.
We walk these streets with diamonds in our eyes, out with the vampires under a midnight sky. My mind so hypnotized. It was exciting. It was the 90s. Mama didn't understand it, and Daddy always said that I was going too far. Said there's never any compromising if you try to win the battle to be who you are. I danced to the left, I danced to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there? 5 years later, I'm back with the same old faces and dead-end places. Things kept going wrong. I'm getting to thinking my daddy was right all along. So will you take a little walk on the wild side? Be careful that you never slip your hands from the wheel. There's never any compromising when you're blinded by reflections from the part of you that's real. I dance to the left, I dance to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there?
That was so cool. But I wanted to ask Michael, what happened to your cell phone? Why were you in the phone booth?
We don't know. It was just in the log line and just, you know.
I was just I was just gonna
um,
say, Michael. I think you are single-handedly keeping the phone booth industry afloat.
I think
Um,
it's funny, do you know, I'm not joking you, there's because we did a photo shoot at that place, right? The place is called Neon Demon Studios in Toronto.
It looked awesome. I've never seen so many neon lights in like one tiny like 4 square meters or something on the
Oh,
corner.
I mean, I get told about it about 3 years ago, and I made
Yeah.
a mental note. Brad sent me it, and he said, you know, we've got to go here. So I said, all right, we'll do a photo shoot and we'll see what it's like. So we went and we did photos, and one of the photos was like was in the phone booth, and he's got all of these little pieces, and it's funny because you know you see the phone booth bit, and that looks like a location, but then you just turn, you know, an angle and oh, there's a pinball machine and arcade machines and stuff, and then it's like, oh, that's a location. And you turn around, there's like the couch with the boom box, and it's like, this is great for like making all these little sets that makes it look like you're in an actual like multi-studio or something. It was like,
Right. Yeah.
you've got to get creative. But the funny thing was I posted a picture of me in the phone booth. There was like one of the photographs, and this girl commented, and it was because I had the phone right, and this girl commented on the photograph. Why does this guy have an obsession with phones? I'm like, you're not wrong.
It's my favorite video for I think
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun.
it's your
That's
best
the
acting.
introspect. That's an introspect phone. Is that the same phone?
That's the introspect
Introspect phone.
mausoleum over there.
Yeah, it's not plugged in. I tried it,
You know.
but it's
We even took the picture of that cover in this room. This room used to be
wow.
used to be a bedroom, and we've on that wall that you're facing from, we took it there.
Michael. This is that
Things
song.
you do to get creative.
That video is my favorite of yours in terms of like as a hand actor.
Yeah,
I think you're acting in that. Your hand acting.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
it's funny. I don't really like seeing myself on screen, like and all of that stuff, but I kind of had this feeling like, well, if I'm going to all this trouble, why would I go to all this trouble, all that money getting put into doing a video, working with like Brad came all the way over from Los Angeles. We've got this wonderful studio. Why would I have all of that stuff in place only for me to go, I don't know. Yeah, at that point you really are questioning why you're even doing the thing. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you either go big or you go home. It's like I really need to sell this. I really need to get comfortable because, like I said, even at nightclubs, I don't like dancing or anything. I'm very sort of like, oh, so I was surprised at how like much I sort of let go in that video. You know.
Yeah, you look fabulous, and I love. Yeah, I'm with guys like that's also one of my. I think it is my favorite Michael Oakley video, only because like everything was on point. Like the cinematography was on point, the lighting was on point. The dancer and model actress in the she's terrific. I really really love watching like her moves and
Oh, do you
also
know
the
something? I text her after we had like finished the video and we saw the finished thing, and I sent it to her, and I literally said to her, I said, if you weren't in this video, this wouldn't be a video. It was just like the best. I mean, like because it's like you hire a model or somebody to be in your video. You're thinking, okay, they look great. I really hope this translates on screen really well. You think,
Mhm,
oh, this works with the video, and
mhm.
literally she was like one take wonder. Like literally, like every take she did was one take. Like she just knew what she was doing, and it was like, oh my god, you're like incredible.
Yeah, I love that. I love that too. Like it also saves like the filming time. Like when you're filming, it's so stressful, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
and also doing all those retakes. Yeah, but everything looked great. The fashion was on point, and I I fucking loved it. Like everything, the textures, like what you were wearing, the sparkly jacket, like the print that she was wearing on her dress, her boots were great. Like everything was
All of
checked
it,
off. It was
all
really,
of
really
that
great.
stuff, all of the
Mm.
choreographed stuff. Like we had like Zoom calls chatting about it, and kind of she would show us outfits that she had, and said, "Would this
Mhm.
work? Would this work? What do you think of this?" and stuff. And like that's funny you say that because that's so important as well as part
Yes,
of the image, what are you
the
trying to
image.
project.
Mhm.
You know, you're offsetting the studio with all this neon lighting and moodiness. You know, like, you know, if I turn up in a paisley suit, it's not really going to work. You see what I
Right,
mean?
right, 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 right.
It's like, unless I'm Prince, you know what I mean? It's like it's one of those things where you sort of are thinking, right, what would look great, and it's the subtle details that makes the difference.
Mhm.
It's those little subtle
Definitely, yeah.
details that really drill the whole thing home, I think.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like you see, like creative chemistry is so important. Like with
Mhm.
everyone that you bring in,
We
with your
all had such
team.
a good laugh doing it. I think that's
Mhm.
another thing that's important, you know.
That's really important, yeah. And then you've been working with Brad Canan for quite some time, so and the creative chemistry between you and Brad,
Where
it's super
me and
evident,
Brad
yeah,
are like that.
yeah.
I was messaging him earlier on today, and because he's filming the last parts of a video for Babylon, which he's doing this weekend, and
Oh, cool.
because it's funny, we shot half the video when he was over here in July, and
Mhm.
then obviously the live stream show took over, and I said, look, just shelve the music video. We need to be like on point for this. Like, I don't want anything hanging over me. We need to just make sure we're in sync in this. And now we're back on the music video, and it's just funny, you know. We just it's the first time I ever met Brad. I think, you know, when you meet somebody and there's like a certain chemistry, and you just feel
Mhm.
like, this person's going to be in my life for a while until I probably
Wow.
keel over and die. This guy, I'm stuck with this person my whole life. I feel like that with Brad. You know, we're just
Oh, wow.
we're like brothers, and I just think he's a genius as well.
Mhm.
You know, there's certain creative people that you have a mental, like, acrobatic relationship with, and me and him
Mhm.
are like bouncing ideas out. Like when we work together, it's always a fun process, you know.
Right.
I think
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
also saw Ollie Wright's name pop up in the writing, and I think you see that quite a lot. There's a lot of collaborations going on with you. What's the writing process like with Ollie?
Well, with Ollie, usually how I have come to work with him now is that I will come up with demos. Like, I'll take the songs as far as I can. I'll have the theme. I'll have some lyrics of what I'm trying to say, and I'll have a call with him. I'll give him the demo, and I'll chat to him for an hour about, you know, what I'm trying to say here. What's the concept? What is the story I'm trying to say here? What am I sort of trying to convey to people that are listening to this song? What's the message? And what's the story? And then he'll listen, take notes, and then go away, and usually he'll come back to me with his own sort of interpretation of it. You know, sometimes there's rewrites of my lyrics, and then he'll come back and say, you know, I think maybe it would be good if we maybe told it in this way, because this will drill this point home and this point that we're trying to make, so that people get the message. And we sort of back and forth with that. And yeah, it's good because, like I say, I think if I was just the one telling my story, it would be very self-indulgent.
Mhm.
Self-indulgence isn't always a good thing. Self-indulgence can sort of get a little bit sticky fingery, if you know what I mean. You sort of
Hmm.
you're not, it's not being told in a way that's accessible for other people that have had the same experience to
Yeah.
relate to. You're
Mhm.
telling it in a, oh my God, this is so shit, and I'm so sorry for myself, and you're trying, and you have to go through that. It's okay to have a bit of that as long as it's done in a way which is multi-dimensional. I think is probably the
I
key.
agree.
Yeah.
You know, but self-indulgence is so easy to get into that with writing. But yeah, that's how I work with Ollie. You know, we and obviously I you know, he's really good working with me with harmonies as well for the tracks. He is Mr. Master at harmonies, and
I love it.
and I love layered harmonies. I'm a very big fan of that, and I'm always like,
Who
you know,
doesn't? Who doesn't love a good layered harmony?
oh,
Oh yeah. But I'm all for
Yeah,
that.
it's a killer combination right there.
Absolutely. So before we resume the quickfire questions, and I'm actually writing some additional quickfire questions. I'm like I'm gonna pile up some stuff to basically ask you guys. Let's take a look at Ollie Rides Back to Life, since we were discussing Ollie. And it's also, I believe, directed by Brad Canan. So yeah, it's all in the family. So we see that there's like a pattern going on here. So all right.
All right. Action.
Streaming, but my heart's still beating from a memory. With these hands I'm seeing, praying for some heaven that you gave to me. Oh yeah, like a wire to my blood, keep me high, made me a believer. You gave me reason in the dark. I'll take the dive if you bring me back to life. Back to life. You keep me high. Back to life, you bring me back to life. 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 Oh, you bring me back to life. Bring me back to life. I'm never gonna let you go. I'll never let the time take hold. I will never let you pass on by. The cool breeze at the back of my
All right. That was All Your Right Back to Life. So, how old were you guys when you started playing music?
How old?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Your first instruments and everything.
I took piano lessons when I was like 5, but then I quit until I was 16 or 17, around then started back up.
And then, okay. And then, Gas, like, how about you?
I picked up. Funny enough, I was supposed to play drums, but I picked up. I was in second class. So what's that? 14, 15, and bass guitar. It was actually bass guitar, and I spent 30 Irish pounds on a bass guitar, and this was a really crappy one at the bridge. It had some cover over it, but it had been there and been knocked off. So there were these like screws that were coming up that were cut. So every time I was playing, I'd scratch myself. So I'd just be bleeding every fucking time I was playing this thing. So that's how long. Then I moved to guitar, and I've been bluffing ever since.
Michael?
I think when I was about 8, because I remember doing keyboard lessons as a kid, and then when I got a little bit older, like about 12, that's when I started getting into like MIDI and recording, and using like a crack copy of Cubase on a Windows 95 PC.
Did you say you were 12?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Starting young.
Prodigy.
Yeah, it was my first love. It's funny, I think most people that get into music, you fall in love with music, and when you find like something that you like, that you love doing, you'll do anything to do it, won't you?
You pursued it professionally. Like,
Yeah.
You're a professional entertainer. When did you get into that? Like, how old were you?
Like as a performing musician, I was so I went to college and university, and it was in my first year at university. I was 23, and I started playing in piano bars. I get given like a hookup contact for somebody that was looking for piano players, and like me being me, I was like, I could do that. I could do that, and he arranged to meet me. Like at first, when I spoke to him on the phone, he said, "All right, we'll do an audition." I said, "Okay," and he said, "Come and see me on Friday." And then the next day he phoned me and he said, "Look, I don't have time for the audition. Look, I need this gig covered. Can you do it?" I said, "You know what you're thinking? No, but yeah." I thought, you know what? This is the best way I'm going to learn. If I don't, I'll never.
Yeah, just throw yourself in the water.
How did you do? How did that night go?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that go?
I had like 20 songs, so I had to like do the 20 songs and then start from the beginning again and do the same 20 songs while I was learning new songs. And yeah, I was doing piano bar work for many years actually, up until I left and came here. I was doing that work. I love piano bars. It is what Billy Joel says it is in Piano Man. It is like that. It is. It totally is like that. And then I was in a band playing weddings at the same time as trying to sort of do my own band that was unfortunately not successful.
Is it because of the drummer?
Do you know it was more because if everyone's hand is on the wheel, then you don't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Whereas you know, I think that the democracy side of being in a band I didn't like.
Yeah.
I like to
You want to be a tyrant.
yeah, I like having the final say. No,
I agree. I'm the exact same as Michael with that in terms of bands and stuff. It's too many cooks in the kitchen, too many opinions, and then typically it's only one person that's really got the drive and passion to make it all happen, when everyone else just wants to make a sort of a determination but not follow it up. So
but also I was the writer in the band, and so when you have a guitarist, a bass player, and a drummer, you have to factor them into your sort of dress up that you're making the songs sound like. So you're kind of like, oh, I didn't really want a drummer in this, but if I say no, I'm using drum machine sounds, he's just going to be sitting there and he's probably going to be thinking, what a fucking asshole. Like I can play that. Why we're a band? And so you start to feel like I have to shoehorn this in for this guy to play on this song, even though I don't want him to. You know, the guitarist, just playing the verses, and then you're kind of like, I wish he wasn't playing in the verses. You know what I mean? It's like you start to adulterate what you're trying to do in your vision for the sake of keeping other people happy. And how does that work in any capacity? No. It doesn't.
Yeah. It's hard to compromise on your own vision. You know, like you have this. Yeah, it's always hard. It's very difficult, and I totally understand that. Like, you know, I started with a band. I had a band. We were a progressive metal band, and we ran for 7 years. And it was great, but at the same time, like, you know, it was and what was great about it though is that I was the only, like, the time I was the only girl, right? And so I was the femme figure, and I did all the writing, which is fabulous. And they layered in a lot of that, like, you know, they were all professional musicians, so they layered in a lot of like those awesome noodly bits, like, you know, a lot of the technical aspect of, like, you know, rhythm and you know, guitar riffs and all that stuff. When that's actually how I learned how to manipulate the dynamics and songwriting and composing. But oh my god, it was always such a drag. There was always drama. Someone was always late. We were in a really crazy rehearsal schedule where we would rehearse 4 or 5 times a week for like 5 hours each day, because just to get everything locked in, to make sure everything's locked in, and we're time. We did perform time, but at the end, ultimately, we just decided to part ways because we're like, it just wasn't working. We weren't getting closer to our goals. And also at that time, like, you know, my fashion career was taking off, so I had to choose that now and make a little bit of money, not be, you know. But I totally hear that. And when I started Zarina, actually, it was supposed to be a band again, but then a lot of those memories flooded my mind, and I was like, I don't know if I can commit to a band again. I just took it solo, and yeah, for sure, I had to learn production. For the first time, I had to learn how to work with a DAW and record my own stuff. And yeah, like it's much easier when you have full control of the vision, and then you can always bring in a backing band, when it's time to perform live, and you can bring in a drummer, guys, and hopefully it's not an asshole drummer.
Honeybeard is Thomas's first band.
Oh, Honeybeard's Tom's first band?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my first band.
Oh wow. But you've done like solo stuff before that.
Not really. Just kind of played music for myself before.
Oh, wow, this is cool. Well, you guys are doing a great job. So, yay. I wish I was just as lucky with my first band,
I've never been in a band.
Really?
No.
But you played with like orchestras with your saxophone.
Well, you
right?
You keep bringing that up. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Oh no, Carson.
I don't know. You know what it is? It's like I don't know why, but like Thorson sent me a series of images once to like use in the show, and then he had like a photograph with the saxophone, and he looked like it was in a hall, and he looked like it was like a proper like orchestral or chamber like setting, and I don't know why I was imagining it. And I was like, and then everything just like. I don't know. I imagine Thorson to be like, Thorson's a classically trained musician and he plays in chambers and orchestra because of this photograph that he has.
Oh, I wish. No, I've played with bands, sure. Like I've had bands, playing my stuff, and I've played
not an orchestra, but okay,
with bands. No orchestras as of yet, but you never know what might happen. I still have the suit. So I can always put that on and just, weasel my way into an orchestra performance.
You obviously play other instruments because you've got great music that's out there. So
I play, thank you. I play the saxophone, obviously, yeah. And very poorly the piano, but that's it. I never actually learned. So every time I play the piano, I have to kind of relearn it, which is kind of not the right way to do it, to be fair.
Tom,
but yeah, I can work more around it.
So Tom always asks me because I can't play piano. I just play by ear. So I have these little stickers that I put on the.
Oh, you got the stickers.
I can play the piano, but I still use the stickers.
Yeah, okay.
Like they remind me, sometimes they're color coded because they remind me of like, okay, this is like pink is for this track, green is for this other track. Like just to like, cause you're on stage, your mind like, your heart's racing, and if you don't have full control of everything that's going on internally, like your mind can go in places, and suddenly you lose track of where you are.
You're doing three things. You're doing, for me anyway, you're the same. And Michael too, but Michael's a virtuoso on piano, so he doesn't really count. But it's like
he doesn't count. You don't count.
You play the instrument, then you're performing, which is quite a lot because that's your total faculty. When I perform, I'm very wary of how, because one time I played. It was our EP launch back in 2016, and some people were commenting it looked like I was shagging my keyboard because I was moving forward like this, humping it. And it looked really fucking stupid, and people took videos I never put up because it looked like it was humping my keyboard. So, you got to like remember what your body's doing, right? And there's that. And then for me, I've got difficulty stuff, and I can't remember lyrics. So I'm trying to remember lyrics. And then, of course, singing. There's four things for me because I'm not the best. So it's singing, and then singing can be hard because if you don't have a good sound guy, which is probably 50% of our shows, Tom, in Toronto. Then you kind of have to rely on, your inner ear or whatever. We started to get, we actually, to circumvent that, we got our own snake and we got our own desk. So we split the signal so they can have for the sort of out of stage sound, and then we can control our stage sound. But it's a lot of work. So having those stickers definitely helps.
For sure.
I don't find playing live an enjoyable experience. It's funny that it's like
that before. Why though?
Because I don't feel like I'm really sort of able to enjoy the moment, because I'm sort of, you're so focused on various factors, and you're looking at everybody looking back at you, and it's like they're little babies waiting to suck your breast for the milk. So like, you're giving them this experience, and you're like, oh my god, I hope I don't say anything stupid. I hope I don't.
Controlling your lactating, basically.
I hope there's milk in my breast.
That's a fifth thing we didn't think about.
It's true that even the run up. I don't sleep like the night before. I find I'm like, oh, did I pack that? What's the backup? Did I make sure I've got that backup hard drive? And like you're literally thinking, oh my god, is everything going to be okay? And it's not going to be okay, because there's always something that's going.
There's always something, yeah.
There's always something, but you just don't want to be. You sort of dramatize it in your head as this big headline. Michael Oakley fucks up concert. It's like this headline, and you're like, oh no, my life is over.
But it's just really right,
British tabloids having a field day. You're expecting
Michael Oakley has no milk and breast.
Or it's skimmed milk. It's not that full stuff.
Semi-skimmed.
But see, Michael, I've got Tom, and Tom's got me. Like we can rely on each other for stuff. But you play a lot of shows. You play a lot of piano shows. Do you know what I mean? I know you're not playing your own music.
The difference with that is I have complete control over that. You see, I'm the one that's sitting.
It's just you and the piano, really.
Piano, it's very. You get into sort of rhythm. It's not the same with covers bands, because you're sort of you're playing a set. You're doing the same thing every week, and you're with the same guys in the band, and it becomes normal, like a job. But piano bar work, when it's just you and the piano, it's like, I can play Tom Waits today if I want. I can play the Beatles today if I want. I don't have to play Elton John today if I don't want to. You sort of you pick and choose what you want to play and how you feel. But even when I've got my own band, like I did for the live stream show there, you're still doing rehearsals, and you're sort of coaching, hoping that they're going to know what they're going to be able to do, and on the day everybody's going to be in sync. It's going to be a great experience. You're just thinking, and it's just it's a big stress fest. I'm more of a studio guy, to be honest. At least in the studio you can cover up the mistakes.
Talking between songs can be stressful. I tend to, because I'm Irish, I tend to swear a lot. And some words you can't say in North America.
I hate talking. I hate talking between songs. Like I just don't talk. I'll just be like, okay, we're gonna go into the next track. I know sometimes I turn my back and then just cue the band. Okay, just next track, and then just plow through. And I when I was performing, I barely spoke. Just went. Yeah, I shouldn't do that, but I just hate speaking. Yeah, I hate speaking on that.
I try to give Tom the
microphone. You shouldn't do stuff that you're like full on uncomfortable with in that way.
Or like it breaks the zone. You enter a specific emotional and psychological zone when you're on stage, and you're in a certain you're in that zone, and your zone will break it. Because like when you break into speaking, you have to be like this, like this like happy person, or it's a different interaction, right? So it's like might as well just go through the entire set.
I got it. I got it. What if you hire someone to be backstage, right, to speak, but you're just miming it? You're miming the speaking.
You got to practice that, Tarson.
Yeah, you have to still practice.
Didn't Pink Floyd do that for The Wall? So.
Did they? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they used to go to the other side of the stadium and watch. That was before The Wall. Remember, they used to hire session musicians.
Yeah.
Like Roger Waters do this. He'd hire a bassist to pretend it's him, and he'd go to the other end of the stadium. This is probably back in the 70s, and just watch the Pink Floyd performance from the back of the stadium.
Oh, brilliant.
I wish I could do that. But I tried giving the microphone to Tom. Tom's a man of few words when it's on the stage. He'd rather laugh at me fuck up on the keyboard or something. Everyone's like, you guys have such great chemistry. It's just Tom's laughing at my mistakes.
Lots to laugh at.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right,
Thanks.
before we proceed with the quick fire questions, let's look at another Honeybeard music video. This one's Hummingbird.
Oh God,
Which I
Hummingbird, yeah, that was a
I
tough.
l- you know what? I love how you have water always in your music videos, and can't go wrong with water, with ocean, slow motion, and like all you use drones sometimes. I saw
It's a
totally
theme.
awesome.
It's a theme running through all our records since
The
20.
relationship with water. So I
Yeah,
thought that was
in
really
the
cool.
ancient Greek Stoic interpretation of it. Yeah.
Any video where Gary's freezing his ass off is usually what we tend to go towards.
You have to suffer for your art. Like that's the best. If it and I also like music videos where I have to suffer, and I will make sure that the shots where I suffered the worst get in. All right, let's look at Hummingbird. Oh.
Whoa!
Like a game of Tetris. That was an excellent video. You really, you went through it. Wow.
Yeah. Thor, so that we did that in 2017 in a place called Parry Sound. I don't know where that is, Thomas. Where's Parry Sound?
It's like 2 hours north of Toronto.
And it was the middle of winter. And right from the get-go, that shoot was just plagued with pain. We went to Tom's mother-in-law. She had this cabin on native land, I believe. And when we got there, the snow was about 5 feet high. So we had to somehow, we got up to the cabin, and then we had to dig down. And when we got there, we couldn't find the key because everything was snowed over. And Tom had to use his burly muscles and break in. And just as he did that, our neighbors come over and go, "Oh, by the way, here's a key." Oh, fuck. And then got in, and the place had no. Tom, you build houses. What's that called?
Burn
Places.
insulation.
What?
No insulation. It was freezing.
Freezing. And we had my friend, another Julian Cardozo, who also did our Momentum Mori video. Anyway, so we came down and we were freezing, like it was just freezing. So Tom went down to Canadian Tire, bought a heater, which we dropped back within the 24-hour period of leaving something back, so we don't have to pay for it. And we could see our breath. I got under three covers in the bed. I was still cold. We were freezing, and then we drank. And the next day when we were doing that, I'm like really hungover, and I'm in the flight suit. But I put the flight suit on, got outside. I was like, I'm going to die. Like it was minus what, 20 or something. So I'm wearing my clothes. Oh, no, that's why I look all puffy. And if I look sick, it's because I'm hungover, and I'm fucking freezing. And then so we cut out this area for me to lie in, but didn't look like it was tracked in, right? So it had to be undisturbed snow. And I lay there for ages. I had these little satchels, and I crush them, and then they'd heat up. But my head's on the ice, and I just can't explain to you how painful that is. And I had to get all these gel things and put them in and put my head there all the time. Like Tom was just drinking a nice warm cup of tea, laughing, wearing a big jacket as you see him wear. And it was, and I had all this latex paint stuck on me, and some of it got into my nose.
Yeah.
It was, we did it for the whole day, and I was 3 hours in that snow.
It looked great though.
Yeah.
I love the
It did.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cinematography was great, and it paid off. I thought, yeah, well done.
Thanks. It was worth it in the end. wasn't it?
Real commitment right
Yeah,
there.
it takes real commitment. Yeah.
Okay,
least you
shall
were-
we finish up? Oh, sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say at least you didn't have to swim in the icy water like you did in the other video.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
was-
something with you guys. Like
That was more
so it's-
dangerous because that tide was going out, and there's a river in that just in the Irish Sea, just in front of where we was shot, and I got pulled out. There was a drone was filming me, and I started getting pulled out, and the drone started getting pulled out, and it lost connection, but it's programmed to go back, so it went back, but I was going forward out. I was like trying to swim back, trying to get just so I could get my feet on the floor, and then it's scary. But
Yeah,
it was fun.
All right. Fall for the sake of art.
Oh, for that shot.
Sake of art. That one shot.
3 people.
I always say I don't care if we get arrested, we're gonna get that shot.
Absolutely.
That was also in September, so it was very cold.
That's good. All right, Thorson, let's do this.
All right, so I've got 3 questions left. Maybe Serena has some more for us in her bag of
add
questions.
something. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've got, would you rather have your hair permanently covered in motor oil or have your beard permanently covered in honey?
I'm gonna go with that.
What was the first one?
Your hair covered in motor oil, like the engine oil for the cars.
I'm gonna say honey because at least it tastes good.
It's probably good for your hair.
Yeah. And that,
I would say from experiencing honey, I would say the oil in your hair. I mean, like greasers do it in your hair. If you have honey in your hair, you're going to get ants.
Oh God.
all sorts of bugs stuck in there, and
Maybe
then it's probably going to mold. What, Tommy?
maybe you get bees, not ants. I don't know.
You'll get ants. Trust me. I woke up to ants one day, and then you get bees going. Oh, bring my honey back. Like it's
Yeah, if you Google honeybeard, it's usually just a bunch of pictures of guys with beards of bees.
Yeah,
that's the next video.
I would take the honey and the beard, then I would just shave, and then that's it. It's game over.
No, because that's the catch, Michael. You can't shave. It's too thick. It's too sticky. So every time you try and shave it, the razor gets stuck in. So now you have a beard full of honey with a razor stuck in it. Congratulations, Michael.
Just can't win.
I'm sure
There's no winning.
I'm sure
No
Brad,
winning the questions.
I'm sure Brad Canan could find a way to Photoshop it out for me.
That's all that matters. You'll be in the photo booth.
All that matters.
That beard
In the photo
and the-
And Michael, you do have the perfect hair. I think the oil would be better.
It's quite slick at the moment, isn't it?
Very slick.
It looks real. Yeah, I've never seen you have a bad hair day.
I love my hair.
Yeah,
Please don't let me go bald, please.
Everyone loves Michael Oakley's hair.
It's always just parted perfectly. Yeah.
Straighteners and conditioner.
It's all the motor oil he puts into it. You know,
Yeah.
That's what really keeps
Maybe
it
honey.
going.
Motor oils at the Fonz for Happy Days or something.
So beautiful.
Okay, question number 8. Would you rather have nothing but dreamless sleeps or have constant recurring dreams every night where you're left behind?
I take the
You're not really selling the second one here.
Come on, I took. Come on, I'm proud of this one. I took songs from both of you and I used them in the question.
So say
There
this
you go.
again. So just now with that in mind, just repeat the question, please.
Would you rather have nothing but dreamless sleeps?
Yeah.
Or have constant recurring dreams every night where you're left behind?
Ah.
Right?
Tom?
The first one.
I'll go with dreamless sleeps, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, dreamless sleep is definitely the best choice.
Yeah, it's a shit question, but I'm just proud of it. Because of it. All right, final question. Whiskey or apple juice?
I'll go whiskey.
It's because you can handle your whiskey. I'd go apple juice.
Apple juice. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you can mix whiskey into it.
Is that
Whiskey
allowed?
is-
Sure, everything's allowed. It probably doesn't taste great, but
Say a drink that I'm a sucker for. Do you have Disaronno? Do you get that?
yeah, I've had. It tastes like what do you call it?
Marzipan.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Does
It's
it really
good,
taste like marzipan?
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it does. It like.
Oh my
full
god, I
on
have to taste it
does.
now.
It's really good until you have too much, and then it becomes like.
Oh, you can drink it like fizzy pop. You know what I mean? You can literally put 2 ice in it and just drink it, and it doesn't feel like alcohol.
It doesn't at all. No, it's
Okay,
it's
I'm gonna
nice.
experiment on this Arona tonight.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. Earlier, you guys mentioned Greek myth, or Gaz mentioned Greek myth, and Michael Oakley's record's called The Odyssey.
Mm.
Your favorite Greek myth? Because I also dove into that world.
Well, I like the idea of there's always like a philosophical lesson, isn't there, with mythology? It's a kind of long-winded way of making you realize something. I always love the Icarus story because I just love that idea. It's not really about somebody flying into the sun. It's somebody's petulance getting in the way of, logic of reality, and that was why his hubris got the better of him.
Yes.
So I like that story.
I like that story too.
I like the Samson story, but I read the Iliad for college, and I did an English major, And that was really interesting. We did all the Tom actually studied philosophy, so he'll look more. But for me, the Iliad, although not a myth, I guess it would be a myth. Well, it's just that's epic, isn't it? That's like the
Yeah,
ultimate.
it's an old school epic. Yeah.
What happened with him again? What was the story with Samson?
His strength was in his hair, and he was usurped by what?
What did you say in
his long hair, not his slicked back hair?
Right.
And if I recall, there was people jealous of him, kings, and he was usurped by a would-be lover. He cut his hair, and I guess the lesson is the strength was not in his hair, but of his character. And then at the end, he pulls down. I think he's being executed. I can't remember. And he pulls down the building that he's in. He's tied up to it. And he uses his strength, and he kills everyone in it. So epic.
You don't need awesome hair for that.
No,
The awesomeness is in yourself. It's not in your hair.
Yeah.
Just helps a bit, maybe.
It helps a bit. Tom,
I'll go Achilles.
okay. We all have an Achilles heel.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's my next question.
Sorry, Achilles heel.
What is your Achilles heel? Yeah.
Right now, my Achilles heel is I have a newborn at home, so it's a lack of sleep right now.
Oh, congratulations. I didn't know that.
Oh, thank you. 2 months old.
Aw,
Boy, girl.
Congratulations.
Boy.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's been 2 months of very little sleep. But yeah, going to go out. Me and Gary are going out to celebrate the release of the album on Friday. So it'll be kind of my first big night out in 2 months.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Nice. Okay, guys, what's your Achilles heel?
I have many of them. Unfortunately, Tom could probably tell you that. One thing, Tom, what do you always accuse me of?
Not leaving well enough alone.
Yeah. So I have an inability just to let things go, or let an injustice go, or or if it could range from like a light bulb over a pool table I don't think is bright enough, and I go to fix it and end up breaking the whole light break, and no one can play pool all night. To calling out some asshole on Twitter or something, which I try not to do anymore. That's a joke.
You and I always joke about this because Gaz and I share the same birthday as Prince. We're both June 7 babies. But we also noticed that June 7, people born June 7, they have this particular knack for not being able to let go of things and leave things alone. Or sorry, not being able to leave things alone, not let go of things. We can let go of things. But especially when it comes to values or something, when we see something that we just don't agree with, we're just gonna go dive in there and say something. But which could also be that is an Achilles heel. That is probably
reacting.
Yeah, or just not I don't know. It's just sometimes I just couldn't sleep at night if I feel like I didn't do something about something that I felt was wrong or incorrect. That's just how I am, and I think that's really, maybe it's a sign, maybe it's a Gemini June 7th thing.
Yeah, I get in trouble when I see something wrong. I'm like, that's not wrong. These people don't know I got to do something about that because it's not right, and that'll play in my mind until either my wife goes, Gary, just don't do it, or Tom goes, Gary, just put it down, and then I move on, or I do something about it, and then it causes a bigger problem.
Michael, Achilles heel.
Sugar is one. I love sugar. I love cakes. I love.
Wow.
I do have a sweet tooth. I try not to because I don't feel good after it. But you know what it's like. You just have to have it. It's so good. Social media. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Social media is a big one because I just don't enjoy the experience anymore. But for some reason, you sort of, it's a habit. Just like sugar, it's a habit.
It's a habit.
You just keep on repeating the same mindless behavior without, and when you're doing it, I'm doing this. I've
I
even
always
do you
have
know
this.
one
Sorry.
one thing that I keep on doing that I notice when I'm on social media is I've got my iPad, right? So I'll have my iPad, right, and I'll be on Facebook and I'll go, what am I doing? And then I'll scroll up and get rid of it, and then I'll immediately click the Facebook icon.
Yeah.
What am I doing? What the fuck?
I've got this neurotic streak kind of where like if I open any social media platform, I have to scroll down the entire feed until I've caught up on everything.
Wow.
And I've got like because not just with my Thursday and stuff, like outside work, it's like social media management, and I've got like 6 other platforms. So that's like 6 platforms to scroll an entire feed of.
Wow.
I couldn't do any more than Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Tom doesn't do any social media, do you, Tom?
Not really.
That is admirable, Tom.
That
I
is
applaud that.
great.
He needs me to do it. Thanks a lot, Tom.
I want to go back to a time where it was just simpler with Bebo and MySpace.
Stupid people.
Good old people.
North America
That was
never
a
had
bit before my time, but it sounds great.
Yeah, not many people remember this, but in the mid-2000s, there was a website called GarageBand.com, and it was like similar to something like MySpace, where you would go on, you would upload your music, and you would get other people to review your music. They would listen to your song, give you a critique, but you wouldn't get that unless you had reviewed 3 songs. So you had to listen to 3 songs and write what you thought about the song for each one of those before your song would be submitted. And it was this kind of like system of reviewing everybody's music and creating this network, and it was nice. But
It's cool. I think they do that. They do that on Twitter sometimes, but I've just become so cynical of all the Twitter, comment your thing, leave a feedback, because it just also feels like engagement bait at this point.
Absolutely.
Thinking
who is this? Wrong answers only.
Oh God.
Oh God. I hate those. There's only so much you can do.
Shield me your NFT. Oh come on.
Show the
Tag
NFT.
your favorite artist, see if they reply.
Or like, give me some new music. I need new music.
Oh yeah,
that's the worst one.
That's the
Yeah.
absolute worst one. That's like the
I hate
ultimate.
that. Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at another Michael Oakley music video. So I chose California featuring featuring Missing Words. When did you shoot this one, Michael?
This was shot the second time I went to Los Angeles, and it was 2017. Yeah, so almost 5 years ago we shot this. It was funny because it was the first time I met Brad, and I was just round at the house at James, who's Missing Words, and he came round and he said, I'd love to do a music video for you guys, and then he was like, how much money have you got? And I was like, I've only got like this spending money, and I was like, I think I've got about $150 left. He's like, just give me the money.
What is that?
$150 we shot this music video, which I'm proud of, because out of all of my music videos, it was shot on the most shoestringest of budgets. It wasn't a budget, it was like toilet paper money. And myself and Brad, we went out at like 2 a.m. and shot for 3 hours at night. And we brought out a smoke machine. You know what I mean? It's like all the little, like I guess cliched things, but you're using the natural landscape. You're just trying to make it work, and it just worked. You know what I mean?
It doesn't really, like I always get asked this, like, people ask me like, how much do you spend on your music videos? And I was just like, we don't, aside for the gear that we already invested in a long time ago, and that was a cumulative of like several years of just like building the gear for it. What, $100, a couple $100 just to get like new props or new materials for creating costumes, stuff like that. Like, it doesn't really cost that much as long as you like you know how to do it, and you have someone who can help you execute it, and as long as you have the vision, you have the taste level, and so everything that I've done so far, we except for like some music videos where like my husband Carlos is involved in, because Carlos is like the cinematographer in every music video except for like when he's in the music video, and I try to include him in Hamlet as much as I can in my music videos. But if he's in a music video, then okay, we'll get another group to do the cinematography. But otherwise, we do everything ourselves, and we learn. If we have this crazy wild idea and we work backwards, we'll create the storyboard, we'll put together the treatments, and we'll make it as crazy and as grandiose as possible, and then we'll work backwards. We're like, okay, how do we technically execute this? And then that's when we go to YouTube University and we're like, okay, how do you do this particular CGI 3D treatment, and then we'll invest the time learning what needs to get done every bit of the way. And then so we've been doing that for quite some time, so like it got to the point where we're like, oh, you know what, we can basically do everything ourselves. But so it just takes that kind of effort. But what matters is as long as you have the vision, taste level, and you know what you want, and work backwards, and anything's possible. So
there's nothing more valuable than the idea, the concept. I mean, that if you don't have that, the thing it's just a cobbled together collage of nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. But if you have the concept, that's the most valuable thing.
Yeah, and also that applies too with making songs and making music. As long as your song still has to sound amazing. It doesn't matter what your production is, but if you strip it down, the song still has to be great. You could play it an acoustic guitar or on a piano and you just sing along. It still has to be great, and it has to have that kind of message or vision behind it. And then the magic really comes through with production, but then you gotta have to have the jewels first, when you're writing. So with that, let's take a look at California by Michael Oakley.
A city of angels with stained glass hearts, where the nice guys lose and all the bad girls fall apart. Sunset Boulevard was shining full of stars, but none as bright as you in California. Here in California. Here in California. Here in California. I wish you were here in California. A million miles away, nothing feels the same. So I'm sending out a postcard from my heart to you. I wonder where you are. Are you thinking of me tonight? I wish
All right. That was really cool. I love the treatment. I love the 80s, like that vintage filtering that Brad did, and the landscapes were awesome. I don't know that's
And
what California looked like from above.
I also love the intro and the outro. That's also very 80s.
It's
Mhm.
yeah, it's that bit at the end, you know, the little sort of ident, the dynamic ident. He'd asked me, "Will you do the music for it?" So I know his one of his favorite movies is Tom Cruise, Risky Business, and there's that Tangerine Dream track, "Love on a Real Train." So I did a little rip-off version of that for him because he loves that movie.
That's
You know.
awesome.
Doesn't Brad Dynamic, doesn't he have a music project out now called Slack Machine?
Yes, he does. You need to get him on.
And he's
he
actually
would be a great guest.
yeah, and he's releasing his first piece of music on the same time as us, actually. So it's out already on the 18th.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still negotiating time displacement.
I know we do that all the time. We were just like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's already released." Oh no, it's not.
Yeah. So just type in Slack Machine. I think it's all one word. That's his handle. You get him. I'm very, 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 very curious to hear. Did you have anything to do with that, Michael?
No, I think he was working with Holly on some of the
Mm.
music for that. He's actually he's been quite rather you know, he's not really said much about it to me.
Yeah?
He actually is funny. I think he's just been cautiously keeping it under wraps until it's
Ready to
you
go.
know, I think you know what I mean. It's like if I turn around to Brad and said, "Hey, I'm going to start doing filming," you see that? It's like I'm going to show you some of my work. You know, I'd probably feel a little sense of trepidation there. But it's kind of funny, you know, like I say, that video was when myself and Brad started working together, and we're still here, and I just wouldn't work with anyone else. You know, I think when you find somebody like that in your sort of working relationship that
Mhm.
you want to keep a hold of them, you know, I've seen so
Absolutely.
many people who they had a winning formula working with people, and then they moved on and completely worked with different people that did not understand them, and their music suffered for it. Their
Mhm.
music went downhill. You see it with a lot of mainstream artists. You know, they sort of flip between different people. The people that they
Yeah.
work with that got them up there, they go, "Oh, now I'm going to pay to get a big producer to work with me," and they don't get what they're about, and they lose that grassroots element. So
I think we kind of discussed that with the Halsey and Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross
yeah,
um, episode, or we did an industrial episode, and we talked about that recently, and it was more like, yeah, creative chemistry is so important with anything, with everything, you know. And it's like once you find that wonderful golden unicorn, you know, who could you could partner with, like, yeah, hold on to that and never lose sight of that. And I think it's so important. And then you know, with me, where I I started this project, yeah, pretty much on my own. I work with an engineer who with for my first record, I work with an engineer whose background was primarily dubstep. And he basically took all my writing, and then when we went to like all the mixing and mastering part, it kind of went into a certain dynamic that I was like, okay, it was acceptable, but I was just like, man, like, you know, like he really took out a lot of parts that I thought was really important, or like, you know, a lot of the lushness that you know, in the
Yeah.
music, the details, you know. And so like, you know, even though, you know, the record turned out great, but I wanted to find that golden unicorn. And then I actually found it recently in Von Herzog, who actually he also works with Holly. He masters some of Holly's records. But he, like, you know, but we spent a lot of time this year just mm, uh getting to know each other perfectly, like just syncing everything up, like, being able to get on the same page, and a lot of the dynamics that I wanted to explore, and but finding that synchronicity is so important, and being able to deliver that together and being on the same page, I think is really, really important. Um, and yeah, like, even with not just music, but also with filming, like, a lot of those people who could really gel with you is so important. It's always hard to work with someone who doesn't gel with you or doesn't get it. It's like, come on, like,
Well, also when I think because I've been on both sides of this, like whenever I'm working on someone else's music as a sort of producer, mixer,
Mhm,
engineer type, my job is to tap into what they're trying to do,
mhm,
not like I need to put me in this. It's kind of more you're trying to get them to express their ideas to the fullest before you even consider stepping in with some personality into it.
mhm,
On the other side, when I work with other people on my music, they are trying to work out what am I trying to do here? What is he trying to get out of this track?
mhm,
What is he trying to do? And express that before they step in and say, I don't think that would work. Why don't you try this? You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those funny things because I certainly feel like that when I work with other people on their music. It's always I have to step outside of almost what I think in order to be able to give them the space to be able to keep exploring what it is they're trying to say in their vision before I
mhm,
start to get a bit like, oh, that's not working, or we should,
mhm,
you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those, it's an interesting process on either side because one, you're fully putting yourself in it in your own music, and someone else has to work out how to sort of get the best out of that. But then the other side is I've got to like go, this isn't about me. This is their music, and I need to.
mhm.
It's like it's an interesting sort of like, oh, I'm not just going to start. And then here you go. It's now me. You know.
Yeah. I Yeah, I think I was gonna say something, but it escaped me because you did the and then my ADD just went to the Yeah, I think it's important to have to be able to gel with someone, and to also, yeah, like being able to preempt um what they want. But also what's really fascinating to me about that is that in order to be able to work with someone, and also this goes on both sides, um it really does require a lot of knowledge and a vast library of sounds and music, to be able to just pinpoint and harness, like, particularly specifically, like, what's the sound that this is going to be like, so, like, coming out saying, like, I want my next record to sound like Tool and Enya and Nine Inch Nails and Bjork at the same time. It's like like whoever you're working with, kind of needs to be on the same page, and they also
Yeah.
need to know all of that, that entire soundscape, and I think that's really important. I think like the cultural aspect or cultural knowledge, as plays such a huge role in being an artist. And I feel like nowadays, in this, especially with the new generation of young people, I feel like that's already getting lost, and I see that getting lost, when I got really upset with that tweet when someone said, like, Lady Gaga's the only person who could make the color purple iconic, and I was just like, what are you talking about? um but it's like they've totally forgot, like, like the icons have already made purple iconic, like Prince, our favorite Prince. That's why I have purple in my background right now.
Yeah.
um so we got a couple
Oh, there
more.
we go. More purple.
Wait, oh, there.
Wow.
That your purple out purples my purple. See, you
Every
made your purple.
purple deserves equal love. They're both good purples.
Do you guys have both flamingos? Neon
Yeah.
lights?
That's how we communicate to each other through
Yeah.
these flamingos, myself and Michael. I know
I
exactly.
I just noticed that.
He's got the fancy one though. That's getting closer. Mine came from the dollar store.
Oh. No, Michael's like the most seductive looking one. Look like it's really flirting with you.
Yeah, it's got its leg
Fine.
Has its
crossed
leg.
and all.
Yeah.
Mine's sort of the male one, isn't it? I guess it's like putting its chest out.
That was just like a proud one. Like
It's
I'm a
like-
proud flamingo.
This is my mating stance. Come on, Michael. If you put yours just right to mine. You're too far away.
Yeah, you have to get closer to the camera. Oh, does it reach?
This is plugged in. I've got the cheap battery.
Ah!
Oh, it's dead.
Oh.
Hey!
No.
Oh my God! Synthwave. Oh no! Oh no! Yay!
Flamingo.
Flamingo.
78.
Flamingos are essential part of the synthwave aesthetics. Those who are not familiar with synthwave, although I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with synthwave in this, in our audience. We've got a couple more videos. Let's take a look at Black Skies. So Black Skies, Honeybeard, you guys created this during the pandemic.
Yeah, we did, didn't we, Tommy? We didn't even, the fact that you can see the two of us in it, that's not how it was filmed, because I kind of filmed me, and then I filmed Tom, and then at separate times, because Tom couldn't get over because of the pandemic and the restrictions between cities. So yeah, this one, the Black Skies, although there's already been a narrative in place for a very long time that we were writing about, I was able to, the Black Skies kind of draw on the anxiety that was happening around that time and put it out. Retro Records asked us to put something out, so we put this out. I think it went down well. It was kind of dark. We get accused, and rightly so, of not writing choruses. And I don't know why that. I think it's probably my I don't know. I can't. Choruses are great and all, but I love writing like a song that's not structured in the typical way. Kind of like Slipstream of a Daydream, which is on the EP. Black Skies is kind of like that too, or Black Skies is kind of like that too. It doesn't really repeat again. It's kind of more of a journey and an anxious journey.
Progressive piece.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably like the fact that I like Tool weighs heavily on how I write stuff. I write stuff like that, like rock music. And yeah, it was good.
How'd you guys normally write? Like you guys just jam? Like,
Used to, didn't we, Tom?
Yeah, this one was this newest album was written more separately, where we both kind of came with songs. But usually it's we'll hang out in our garage and jam and see what happens. And we'll go our separate ways and make songs out of our ideas that we came up with.
That's cool.
Part of that was that when Tom was sending stuff over to me from his computer, and one of the reasons why we brought Michael on board is because when I was trying to master them, the stuff that I was writing, because I had a different bunch of plugins and a different style, and the stuff that I was getting from Tom, and then when I put them together and I tried to mix and master them as a whole, I wasn't doing a great job. You could tell there was a little bit of a difference. So one of the things that Michael did was when he took it all, he was just able to balance it all, strip it down into it, and then build it back up so it was more equal, and so you couldn't tell the difference. So that was another headache because we were so far away, because usually we would build it up on one computer. And we're not very computer savvy in terms of production on DAWs. Everyone seems to be really, really good at it when you go on this Twitter. Everybody knows how to play. Everyone's like a synth expert, or they know all about DAWs, or they talk about like me and Tom. We're idiots. We're bluffing this. We're really in a rock band, and we've adopted synth music, probably initially because it was just easier to write stuff without people. So we're
Yeah, actually, I would never have guessed that. I would never have thought that at all. Like, it was just the way you guys, do your music and how you guys present your music and how even the peripherals that go with your music, they're all done really well. By the way, I also wanted to mention this. Like, I really, really love the album cover for Oneros. I thought that was really, really cool. But anyway, yeah, Synthwave, very production focused genre. Like, there are a lot of, it seems like every conversation that I see on Twitter or on social media around Synthwave is just how they get that gated snare sound. And I swear there's only like 4 gated snare sounds that I heard in Synthwave that really, like, that's predominantly used. And it is very production focused. Yeah, and there are a lot of people they've been doing this their entire lives, right? Like a lot of producers in our community, which is great because they can help us if we have questions, or yeah, we can go ask someone like Michael Oakley, or Vaughn, who's like done it for so long, and they know the craft. And I actually mentioned this in the previous episode, where there's always that balance between being creative and being technical. um I think, very, very rare that, you see someone like, even with Michael Oakley, like, who can do both technical and creative, like, he's savvy, and like, he knows well enough that, he also could bring in, or should bring in, other people to even make his work even more powerful and make it more well-rounded. Like, and having that sense is also really important. But I've always just believed in that you should always just focus on your strengths, like, where, like, for example, me, like, I have no goddamn business in mixing or mastering any, piece of music that's above 15, 16 stems or over. Like, once it goes over that amount of stems, I'm like, fuck it, like, forget about that. Like, I don't know how to manage that anymore. And then, but I know that I'm stronger with the creative aspect of it, creative aspect of development, but then bring in someone that you can partner with in the technical end, which is mixing, mastering. I think it's so important. Like, it's like peanut butter and chocolate. Like, you need to have it together. And then also mentioned before, like, when I was a designer, like, I always had a creative team and I had my technical team, and then they have to work congruently together in order to create the best product possible. And I think that's really the best way to approach it, and
Our difference was kind of is that too, but it's more so that Tom and I are more of a traditional band, not a duo, right? So we're more about playing shows, and
Mhm.
when we just look at the stuff, the different instruments as just tools. If we were just guitar, we wouldn't add so many stems. We do eventually, not like Michael, who's like 160, I saw, but we would just have enough stems. Probably we'd hit an average of about 40, and that's at the end of it. But really, for us, this is just a tool to put. We're songwriters first, and then we're like we've played probably in Toronto a good 50 shows altogether, probably over 70.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but we're supposed to play, like, this is what fucking annoys me about the pandemic, in a sort of selfish like that. It really was a waste of a year for us. It really took it. It just nothing annoys me more than just sitting down and being stuck. So we should have had more gigs, and we should have had this album gigged out by now, and then more finessed. So it would have been a better package. Who knows where it could have gone with. And Black Skies is exactly one of those things where it was written in the pandemic with all sorts of, even at that time, you couldn't go anywhere. It was horrible. And after Black Skies, I couldn't write any more music. I was stuck. So it's not being able to do that really affected us. And on the technical aspect, I guess we got a little better because we had to improve. I got some, I bought a couple of plugins, and with some plugins I got some templates, and some templates I got some great sounds. Instead of building them up like Michael would, like, I just had these stock ones that came out of the box, and we tweaked them a bit and used them, and that was good enough for us because we're songwriters. And then just the thing is, we played one show since March 2020, and I don't know, Tom will tell you too, it just doesn't feel right for us. And Black Skies was a reflection of the dread, the existential dread, and the absurdity of everything that was happening in the world.
All right, with that, let's take a look at Honeybeard's Black Skies. That was fantastic. I love that
Fantastic.
aesthetic.
Thanks. That was the
Love-
first time. Again, necessity is everything, but we didn't have any expertise like Brad Kinnahan lying around or anything like that. So I took a shot at doing that video myself. It's the first time I did it on First Cut Pro on this bloody Mac. So that was interesting. It was good. It was good to get something made yourself and out the door. And the same with Lighthouse at the top of the show. Did that ourselves. Not not technically difficult or anything like that in terms of story, but just getting a video that wasn't boring the life out of you. So yeah.
No, it was pretty. It was very, it's all visual aesthetic. It was like, you can't go wrong with black and white. I love black and white videos.
I mean, same goes for pretty much all of your videos and your music. You just got your own vibe, and you just go for that, and it's working.
Thanks, Darcy. There's a little trick that I tend to use is that I use this thing called perception, because Tom is significantly taller than me, right? So that annoys the hell out of me. So I kind of put him to the back when I can, and then so in that video, like he looks like he's just this taller than me, but really he's like up here. So yeah, he's tall. And he's
How tall are you, Tom? What's your height?
I am 6'2" and a bit. I guess.
Oh, I heard
I tell people he's 6'4", just to give myself a little. I'm 5'9", so
you're not that far from Tom.
I am. What did you see us standing together? You see that the image?
6'2"
you
and
have?
5'9", that's not that far of
I'm always standing on my
of a
tippy
leap.
toes, and every foot.
Oh, it's like 12 centimeters between you, right?
Yeah, 5
Um,
inches.
And the feet.
I know how to
Um,
get. Well, no, I actually there are certain things that I don't know. Like I can't understand. Like a stone. What's a stone in terms of weight? Michael, can you explain that?
14 pounds, I think.
Is it 14 pounds? Yeah, 14 pounds specific.
Is it?
I can't remember.
Okay,
But
what's
that's
the
what Tom
gallon?
is.
Oh,
It's a
wait,
bit
we
more.
already been through that. Sorry. Gallons, 5 liters. I know this one.
So Tom's 100 gallons. Oh, bruising my ego as the front man. You know, got to put him to the back. Best I can.
I've been enjoying watching the story of the Canadian sunset over there, Tom.
The what?
It's just getting
Wait, what
like
time is it
progressively
over there?
darker.
It's 4:46 or something like that.
Oh,
4:46. And
Yeah.
It's getting dark. Man.
Do you get
More
the early
More
sunset?
locations than a Michael
get the
Bay
early
movie.
We get the early sunsets here too now.
yeah.
I don't know about Thorson. You still have the perpetual daylight, right?
You're in Finland.
Thorson?
Oh no, that's only like we have like
It's in Iceland.
solstice.
Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland.
Oh, you're in Iceland.
Yeah, that's right.
We all have to go to Iceland and shoot music videos there.
Tom, you were in
Definitely.
Iceland, weren't you? Tom was in Iceland.
Yeah, I was there right before your wedding, guys.
That's right. Yeah.
When
I
I
think
was this would be like 3:00 in the morning. It'd be this like this. It was late all the time.
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was that must have been in like June or July because that's when we
June.
have the like 24 hours.
Oh.
But now it's quite depressing, to be honest with you. It's like 4:00. It starts getting dark and it's like fully, just dark by 6.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But you could be in Glasgow or Ireland. I mean, it's not exactly cheerful this time of year either, is it?
Nah, I lived in England for a bit, so I know that
Yeah,
as
so
well.
about
It's everywhere in the world. It's a massive problem. We need to up the daylight somehow. Let's get a dome over the world and control it or something. I don't know.
So
Tom's
we have.
Sorry.
What?
Just wondering if Tom's still at work or it's home time now, is it?
I have to start driving home soon. I don't know. I can turn my mic on mute.
Oh, we have one more Michael Oakley video, and then we're actually signing off after the Michael Oakley video, and then and we're gonna play the Dark Tides Honeybeard music
Oh, yeah.
video.
That's a
as the
sister to
outro.
that, guys. That song.
That's why I kind of figured they have like a very similar theme, and yeah, that's why I kind of tried to position them as closest together. And then the next music video from Michael Oakley is "Turn Back Time." So Michael, tell us about this music video.
This one got shot in 2017. It's kind of funny because the song had came out at the end of 2016. It's funny because when I finished that song, New Retrowave didn't tell me this, but they were going to use it as the 2016 elections campaign sort of night video. So on the video for the New Retrowave video, first of all, you see Donald Trump, then you see Hillary Clinton that pops up them in the 80s, and it worked. I mean, it was at the time it was a nice gimmick. It really worked to help, give the song a real push. But it's just unfortunately that the Donald part's first that just hasn't aged well. The comments have shifted. You can tell the tone of the comments from people that leave comments on that video now. So halfway through 2017, I said to Brad, we should do a music video for this. I feel like it would be a nice thing to do, just for that song. Didn't want to have an EP where I had a song for California, but not like one of the main sort of singles from it. So we hired a DeLorean car, and yeah, it was all shot within like 2 days. We did some pickup shots. I came over here actually, and then flew back there. It was such a long trip. I came over here for a week, flew back to Los Angeles for one night just to do pickup shots, and then flew immediately out from there to London, and then from London to Glasgow. And
wow.
Quite a journey.
I know. When it was funny, the only reason I remember it all was because when Brad picked me up from the airport, we went immediately to the cinema to go and see Prometheus.
Nice.
Which
Nice reward after all.
Cinema at that time, it was the latest like Ridley Scott one, and we went and seen it.
Yeah.
And then like went to bed, and then got up and did the pickup shots, and then that was it. I was in an Uber off to the airport, and that was it. On my trip was over. You know? Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look at "Turn Back Time" by Michael Oakley.
Woo!
Love hasn't been on my side. The sun's forgotten to shine lately in my sky. But I'm remembering who I am. A part of me once lost. I realize the things that mean to me the most. I put the radio on and I'm playing our songs. I think about you as I'm driving home. Wonder how do people so right our hearts. 'Cause I remember when we danced all night. You were laughing and we felt alive. I should have taken the moment when it was right. Now I wish I could turn back time. You should be mine. Now you're someone else, a pretender to the throne. I promise you the world will make you feel alone. Doesn't know who you are, no, not the way I do. I'm the one disguised here right in front of you. I'm still hoping that you will call. Tell me you and him are through when he falls. That you wanna ride out off into the sun. You'll go out and dance the whole night. You'll be laughing and feel so alive. I'll never let that moment slip again. 'Cause I wish I could turn back time. You should be mine. I'm wishing you were here tonight. You are the one that makes me feel so alive.
That was a really beautiful video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
very
really beautiful. Yeah,
good.
that was really well.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the sketch from the
I
actual.
tried to do it better than she did.
That's actually a really excellent sketch.
It looks sketchy to me.
It's Mowgli. Sketchy Mowgli. I tried to get the hair right too.
Oh, thank you.
But he looks
Nice,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a cowlick though. Does it?
I
No,
know.
that's the other side. If I was to do
Oh,
my
you do it, yeah.
this way, then you would notice it. It
Get
has
a
to go.
cowl.
It has to go this way. Wait, which way? Because I'm looking. Wait.
Lift it
Yeah.
again.
It's there. It's there. So I have to put it over this way, like, or it doesn't have the same effect. It looks ridiculous.
Nice. Oh, that was great. I like the symbolisms. I like the sunglasses and oh, it always breaks my heart. Like those kinds of themes. And yeah, well done. And the lyrics though sounded like she's with someone else, right? Or she left, she's with someone else, but then in the music video, you guys conveyed it that as though she died.
Yeah, figuratively, kind of
Figuratively, yeah. Like,
metaphorically, I guess that's when you grieve, don't you, when the loss of a relationship. But
Mhm.
people obviously downplay it. It's sort of hidden. You keep it to yourself. But I mean, that's what it is, isn't it? It's like a grieving process when someone walks out of your life.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always die in my music videos. I don't know if you guys ever seen my music videos, but I always die in them. Except for it's like it's a miracle when I don't die in my music videos. Like I just like the whole conveyance of death, or like the death and rebirth type of thing, you
Mhm.
know? But yeah, well done. That was really well done. Music video by Michael Oakley and Brad Kanan.
He's
And I love the dance.
I
I
can't
love
wait to see what he does this weekend, because once he has all the stuff shot, then myself and him will sit and look through what he's got and kind of go through just to see what it's always that moment of, oh my god, I can't wait to see the source footage that we've just captured and see what's what and start to categorize it and work out the thread of how story is going to be told.
I always felt that's the hardest part of the entire filmmaking process, where you're choosing the
Yeah.
footage, because most of the time you just have so much. Like you have like so much to choose from, and it's just hard to yeah, pick and edit, and you have to choose what's best with the flow of the video and the flow with the songs. And
Exactly.
then sometimes like the best shots and the best the best shots and best cuts, like sometimes they don't make it because it doesn't work, it doesn't work with the rest of the video, and also with the concept of the song or the way the song flows. So I see.
We've got funny outtakes. We've always got good outtakes with our videos. We always have a good laugh with it.
I can imagine. Like I mean, I love Brad. I've met him a few times, and he is such a wonderful person. And I just seeing the two of you guys together. Um, yeah.
When we were out for dinner, remember, and
Yeah.
myself and Brad were sitting. I remember we were in Toronto, right?
Oh yeah.
And you guys were filming like little shots for
Yeah.
Elevate the Sky.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was such
I
a
actually
fun
wonder when he's
experience.
gonna release that. I don't know when Scott's gonna release that video. I
I
haven't
know,
heard
I need to
anything, so we
message
should
him and
ask him.
ask him. I need
We
to
should
ask.
ask him. Scott, when are you gonna release that video with all of us?
The traffic cone. We are the dreamers.
Yeah, we are the dream.
That was funny.
The backstory is Scott Eric McClure, aka Elevate the Sky, is coming up with a new record and a new music video, and then he invited a few synth fam to participate in it. And I know Michael Oakley had fun, way, way so much fun with his footage. Like, I try to give him my best synthwave, you know, impersonation, I guess. But yeah, I think we should get clips of your shots from that.
But you know, it was literally like because myself and Brad were working on my live stream stuff, and then obviously doing like this for the Babylon video, we were like, over like, oh, we can do this when we're filming this. We'll just take 10 minutes and we'll film something, and it doesn't work like that when you're there.
Yeah.
That's the last thing in your mind. You're so like focused, and we were sitting having dinner, and I was like, fuck, we need to do these shots for Scott. And then we need to do it, or if we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. I said, look, let's just go out. We'll just walk around. We'll just like stand up. We'll do stand up. We'll just literally like find something and we'll do it, and it'll be funny and it'll be genuine, and he'll laugh. We'll all laugh, and it'll be good. Because everyone else will do studio shots. Who's going to go out and pick up a traffic cone that some dog probably pissed on, and then I'm putting my mouth on it?
Yeah, I was like, I would do that. But chances are,
I'll do that for Scott. I'll do that for Scott.
You do that for Scott.
Because I love Scott.
I was really concerned over that because, well, at least it was in Toronto. I don't know how it is in Toronto, but if that was New York City.
Oh no!
No, for sure, 100% or 1,000%. There's dog pee on that corn.
I'll hide in the bushes, and then when the time comes, we are the dreamers. I want to see this video. When you get on,
I really do. I want to see what everyone else did. I think it's gonna be great. Speaking of live stream, are you guys? Honeybeard and Michael, you guys gonna do another live stream, or are you gonna do a live stream?
Well, for us, we actually remember we were talking, Michael, a while back about, like, you were telling me you were looking for a place, and I found a place. We were going to do something that Michael did, and then we just didn't have the time for it. But we did 2 live streams at the start of the pandemic, and they were fun and all, but it's not to the production quality that we would ever do. So it was just like a down and dirty thing. But we kind of, looking back, we would never do that again. So if we were ever to stream, it would be something akin to what Michael did or Ollie Ride, and it would be it's an expensive production. So that's the only condition. But me and Tom are just so busy at the moment. I don't think we have time. I don't think it's going to happen. I hate streaming, to be honest.
It's just it's different from live for sure.
Well, people will know Gary can't hold the tune,
It's a lot of work all over a period of time for one day's worth of shooting, and it's like, I don't get me wrong, I'm proud of it. I love what I did, and everybody involved, they all turned up and brought their best game with them. But I don't think I would do something else like that for a while. Because it was months. It was literally months of rehearsals of like, it wasn't just like, that way when you're in a band, you think, the venue will take care of all of that stuff, the stage layout and everything. It was like, no. I need to work this out with Brad. Like, you literally are a choreographer. You're looking for props. All of the props that were on stage of my show, I had taken time to source those out, like local ads, like Craigslist or whatever. You go on and you're like looking for old televisions, and I was driving to people's houses getting these television sets.
What'd you do with them after that?
Sorry?
I love the televisions. What'd you do after that?
Just left them by the side of the road like anyone else would.
Oh wow.
I
would have kept them.
Somebody picked them up. Somebody picked them up in the end, I'm sure.
Oh wow. Yeah, wow.
But yeah, even the Roman pillars, I mean, those came from someone's garage. That they were.
I need to borrow those Roman pillars for my new music video.
Oh, they're gorgeous. We've got them in the garage downstairs. But
wow.
Like even stuff like this little guy here.
I love that guy.
He was in.
What's the story of that guy?
Well, he's just a prop that I found in a thrift store, and I really liked him, and I was like, I can find a use for him. He's been in a few videos. That he is like the little Easter egg guy that you can look for in my videos.
I'm sure he's not cursed or
I love
something.
him.
We bought a whole bunch of palm tree plants and things, and it's just
Yeah,
it's
it was
just
great.
y- y-
Aesthetically, it was so beautifully executed. Yeah.
yeah. It's just that you get all this stuff, and in your head you think this will be great. Then when you get there, you're like, is this going to translate well onto the actual film? Is this going to look all right, or is this going to look hokey? Is this going to look, you know what I mean? You're creating this illusion that it's a stylized sort of choreographed thing, but you don't want anyone to see behind the curtain. You know what I mean? You're trying to create this thing and
Yeah.
let people believe in it. You know what I mean? Oh, look, Tom, it's like we're watching the movie Drive.
I love it. I'm just like leaving. Like I just left them on the screen because it looks so cool.
Take on mute just so you don't hear the rumble of my truck here as I'm rolling along the back roads of Milton.
It's so awesome.
I give you a 10-minute window. Anything that happens within that 10 minutes, I'm yours.
You know, there are some Twitch channels where, you know, the host or the person's just leaves his camera on while he's driving.
Wow.
And that's a Twitch show.
Mine would be just a
Funny and anything.
And they get viewers, which is really, yeah.
Very strange.
Maybe that'll be
Yeah.
the next
So much-
the next revenue stream is.
Yeah.
Is what?
Next revenue stream is like driving. Yeah. Like watching someone drive.
No, we ain't getting anything from Spotify, that's for sure.
Yeah, can we discuss that for a moment? So like Spotify, and you know, we all have qualms with it.
My biggest thing I think about it is that, see, if we all came together and said, no, we're not putting our music on this platform until they pay us more, they would do something about it. Because they have a subscriber base. It's like if people who are subscribers to Netflix all cancelled their subscription and said, we don't want this subscription because the quality of the stuff you're putting on here is not what we want. They would then have to go out and get better content and then pull the subscribers back. Whereas with Spotify, they have subscribers who pay to use the platform. So if all of us musicians and well-known bigger musicians said, we're not using this platform, this is terrible, you should be paying us more, that would sort of make it that the subscribers wouldn't have access to what they're paying for, and therefore they would have to pay us more money.
Right.
But we're so happy to be amused and entertained with our televisions and whatever. We're just like, it's too much trouble.
All right.
I can't be bothered with that drama.
It's like, yeah, it's amazing because like, how much is Spotify Premium versus Netflix Premium?
I think they're about the same. Is it not like 13?
Yeah, there's
9?
Yeah, and then what's incredible is that for somehow Netflix gets behind creators.
Oh, Netflix has the right idea. They started as just being, you know, oh great, some more Bruce Willis movies. Oh, okay. You know, you sort of, it's like you know what you're getting. Whereas now they are taking shows and making them Netflix originals. So they've actually became, instead of just this like streaming subscription service, they're actually like an actual network that's putting on their own shows. They're investing in productions. Do you know that's genius?
Yeah, it's really genius in that.
You know, now we think of Netflix originals as being like just as the same as HBO or something like that, or Fox.
Yeah, and hopefully that also happens to some sort of streaming site for music where they actually do take the initiative and also getting behind the talent financially, growing them, and also kind of acting like the studios. getting behind production, almost like labels, you know. That would be great if
There's a lot to be said about the MROs, the music rights organizations. So my MRO is IMRO because it's an Irish one. Michael, what are you part of? ASCAP or something?
SOCAN.
SOCAN, right? SOCAN. I really think that they're actually one of the main reasons why artists get paid so very little. They're the ones that dictate to them what the rights are, not the rights are, but what's the name of the remuneration you get? Royalties, I guess.
Royalties, yeah.
Yeah, so they have a lot to say, and if they're the ones that can dictate that because they do that they're the ones that collect your money. So if they're not doing it, they're not dictating to private enterprise because they probably have a cut in it too. So it's just typical bullshit businessmen around a circle jerk, you know. So I think people forget that. I think if we were to do what Michael Oakley suggests, I think we get together, we put pressure on our unions, right? The artists' unions. They're the ones supposed to be fighting for us. We can't do anything against big national corporations because artists are only a section of their of the people that contribute, but it's typically just the listener, right? The consumer. So really, we would need to put exert pressure on our unions like SOCAN and IMRO and ASCAP and all those people to change the rules, and that's not happening. And people forget that. I think that's where the bottleneck lies.
Do you not remember there was that famous thing a few years ago where Taylor Swift refused to put her music on Spotify, and they gave her a better rate? No, remember that? And then her music finally went up. There was an agreed rate.
There was a time too, like Radiohead, Tool and Radiohead were not on Spotify since the beginning of Spotify. They literally just uploaded their music and their discographies just maybe like 2 years ago, the entirety of it. I know Tool did right before they released Fear Inoculum, which was their last record. But they were not on Spotify. I remember just like still having to rely on my iTunes.
Even Beatles went on for a while, but I think that was more to do with agreement over like just all of them agreeing together. You know how over the years they've all disagreed on whatnot for the distribution of who gets what and where goes what. You know.
Yeah, and also like Billboard releases like, you know, the figures for the highest grossing musicians, right, every year. And I forgot who it was, who was their top last year, but then like, you know, they grossed like
Was it Drake?
No, it wasn't Drake. It was actually like some old school like rock band, and I totally forgot who it was. But anyway, they made like 100 million or something like that, right? Like or like 120 million, like, you know, between like, you know, record sales and touring and merch and all that stuff. And then you see, so this is like the highest grossing band, and you see their streaming revenue was like not even 1 million.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It was terrible. And I was like, you guys are like, okay, I mean, okay, maybe I exaggerate. It's probably not 100 million or whatever, but it was like up there. It was like, you know, close to like those figures. But the percentage of like, you know, how much they were getting from streaming was so tiny.
It's terrible.
It's so terrible.
It's immoral, actually. It's ethically wrong, and it sends a message that you know how over the years there's been that kind of stereotype of musicians being, oh, you know, creatively, you know, that's nice, but you'll never make any money out of that.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That reinforces that that idea that there's not a lot of money in it. But even if they were to give 10% more, it would be such a huge difference to smaller artists. But their model isn't based on like helping grassroots music. It's on subscribers and making a quick buck out of us all.
Yeah, and also
If Bandcamp could create an app that streams what you've purchased, suppose because the app that's on there is not great. If it was more modeled and designed around the streaming platforms, I think that would go a long way. I'd listen more to my Bandcamp the way I used to listen to my iTunes. You know?
I love the Bandcamp model. And also you can still see that the problem with Spotify, like, from business and industry perspective, problem with them is that they did bring in a lot of investments and investors in it, and that's where they get the pressure, and that's why, like, where most of the money are going to, is that they have to cover, like, the ROI for the investors. Like, Bandcamp, you can see that they still have a really strong private control over, over the business. I'm sure that right now, if they get a little bit more money, if they figure out how to raise more money and how to really create and execute a fantastic app that could really help us, I think, yeah, they will just blow everything
But
out of the
is
water. They'll blow Tidal out of the water, Apple Music out of the water, because I think also what I love about Bandcamp is they really foster that active listener base, like, that active fan base, versus Spotify and a lot of the streaming culture really just created this passive listener base, which I felt like doesn't really help us as musicians. Like, they, it's almost like they treat music as though it's just like a wallpaper, or it's just like a, background music. And then and if you even listen to the hits, like, it's not music that you want to emotionally invest in. Like, it's music that you just, oh, it's just chill, it's just playing the back, blah blah blah, right? But it's not something that, like, okay, you know what, I want to, because I'm that type of listener where I'm like, I'm listening to your music, I'm in it, I'm present in your music, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's what's, I feel like that's what that kind of emotional response from an audience to a creator is so important, because that's what creates the fan base. When you can really trigger that emotional response in your audience, they become a fan, right? And they'll go worship you and go to your shows and make sure that they're present all the time. But the streaming culture doesn't really foster that anymore, where, oh, it's a playlist culture. It's just like, oh, it's all about the playlist, and if a song stands out too much, it's almost like they don't like it because it stands out too much. Like, it has to be cohesive and very homogenized with the rest of the playlist. So that, I feel like that also impacts creativity.
the whole
When
thing's
there's
rigged, though. It's rigged because remember what you were saying earlier about the return on investment.
Mhm.
The return on investment, they're the big labels. They're the investors. There was an article out there a couple of years ago about major labels buying large shares in Spotify.
Is that true? I didn't know. I didn't know that there was an article that came out that said
Vested
that.
interests from the music community already. Large interests. It's set up to.
That's illegal. I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah.
What?
Well, you got
It's
to
kind of
think.
like venture capitalists, like, venture capitalists managing or tied into corporations with venture capitalists, and then investing
Well,
into Spotify.
it saves the labels because if you look, say, at Sony, for example, look at their catalog of artists, right, that they have license for. What's stopping them from starting a conglomerate with 2 or 3 other labels to start their own streaming service? I mean, rather than doing that, why don't you just buy large stakes in the biggest one right now and then dictate the profit?
Monopolizing, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's happening. It's just the bullshit of the world, and because labels are struggling against independent artists like the rest of us here, this is how they screw the independent artists, because they remember for a while there in the zeros they were starting to really, especially after the economic collapse, a lot of them were falling apart. A lot of the really old traditional ones were falling apart and being bought over, especially the advent of streaming, right, since Napster. A lot of them were losing a lot of capital, a lot of investment, and this is their way of playing the game. This is where it is.
anything
It's
that's
funny though. I must say, I can see. I've probably got a two-faced relationship with Spotify because I hate it as a musician, but I love it as a consumer.
yeah, as a library.
You see, that's the problem. You see,
That's
I
hard
enjoy using Spotify. I just
mm,
don't enjoy using it as an actual
as an
musician.
artist. Yeah.
And that's the problem. You see, that's why it'll be hard to change that. Because
It will be very hard.
what they would probably do is if they had to pay musicians more money, if we all got together, they'd just bump the price up, so it would be $14.99 instead of $13.99 a month.
I'm pretty sure that how long have we had Spotify? It has been 12 has it been 12 years or something? I know it's been over a
2008
decade.
it started.
2008, so 14 years.
Mm.
Um yeah, it's probably reaching its final curve, where and something's going to come along like, that's going to disrupt that, well, what they're doing. Always happens, like,
Yeah, there's always
it's just a
something
matter of
new that
time.
takes over. It's not really.
Yeah,
It's
Um,
something new. I mean, they took over, right? Like they did it, at the time when it was
yeah,
probably needed, and then now we're seeing the flaws and we're seeing uh how it's working. We see that its conveniences and also its inconveniences, and we're seeing what could be better. And I'm pretty sure someone out there is developing something that would be a lot better. And now we're entering this quote unquote metaverse, right? Where things are just gonna get more multidimensional when it comes to experience. So and someone's gonna come along and deliver that along with music, like creating the whole music, change the whole musical experience for the audience. I see something like that happening that will just disrupt the Spotify and disrupt Spotify and hopefully places musicians in a better place, and get compensated more fairly.
physical ownership, I think, is the key. That's the only thing that can rail against something like streaming, because it's the antithesis to it. That's what I hate the most about streaming. You want to like, it's handy, like Michael said, it's really handy, absolutely. But the onus now on the next generation is not to own anything, especially when
I think yes, but then no. You've got, you're talking about the metaverse and the whole NFT side of things. We've not really seen how that plays out, but that's probably going to play a huge part in the ownership
Aspect,
aspect
yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
So
it will
that might
change.
be, yeah.
Yeah, which that will definitely, like, blockchain technology will make an impact later on. I'm pretty sure that we're just seeing the beginning of it, and which is cool because, um the ownership aspect, like what Thorson is talking about, like, when it comes to intangible products, and we went over this in the last episode with Jake, where, you know, um blockchain has created, and especially NFT segment of blockchain has allowed people to take ownership of intangible products. And I think that's just going to get more and more revolutionized as the technology develops. And hopefully, yes, that will create a grander benefit towards musicians. Um, yeah. God
Yeah.
damn it, Spotify.
Time's up, Spotify. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
not
like
quite yet, but soon. We
it's,
hope.
I think so. It's been 14 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's time for a refresh.
it is.
Yeah.
we don't have
Well,
many Spotify listeners. We have like 300 or 500. We just never invested in it to our own detriment, I guess.
it says that I
Yeah.
have like, it says that I have like what, 6,000 monthly listeners, but I'm pretty sure I don't have anywhere near. Maybe I only have maybe 10% of that for sure. I feel like I need to see the real conversion, like in terms of Spotify converting into real active fan base. I see more results from YouTube, to be honest, where, you know, people do become like, when they see the material and they experience it, because it's all visuals, and that's why. So I love doing this show because it's visually driven. Everyone can see you, and everyone can kind of get a grasp of your energy. But I feel like YouTube at least provides that, experiential aspect when it comes to, art and being creative. Then when fans see that, it's like, yeah, they experience you all throughout, and they respond to it. So
Yeah,
I
I
think,
think.
go
Oh
ahead.
no, sorry, carry on.
No, go ahead. I finished.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say, I think I wouldn't, I don't really mind the, the payment aspect of Spotify, but they have the basis to, provide the exposure for artists, but they just don't, it's also passive, like you said. So if there was an incentive involved to actually get people to take that next step and go and follow them on Twitter or Instagram, and go and actually explore those artists, then that would make Spotify such a nicer platform for artists without having to, pay higher royalties at all.
But then I saw a statistic recently that said that there's something like 75,000 songs uploaded to Spotify per day.
Jesus Christ.
So, when you think about that,
Well, then that Daniel Ek, the CEO, said something like, and I for sure I got into a lot of Twitter arguments, and even like had lost friendships over this last year when I said, like, that's not the model that he proposed was to release more music as often as possible.
Oh
Like,
God,
the
no.
the fact that they were saying, like, he was saying, like, that's the new landscape, for musicians to, it's not enough. Like, like, whatever anyone's doing is not enough. Like, you have to have new music every month, and that's why that's what we're getting, is that we're uh, commodifying, music to a degree that it's no longer healthy. It's fast fashion. It becomes fast fashion. And look at what fast fashion does to the environment. Like, it basically just impacts the environment. So figuratively, like, that's happening with music. More you release, like, the more I feel like the more you release, the more it like the more it really impacts the entire landscape. I feel like there's just this whole flood, and don't get me wrong, I do love certain artists. It's very rarely I love certain artists who that's part of their branding. There's part of their, like, that's part of their artist thesis, is like, the constant flow of music, and they actually do it really well, and it works for them, and I'm a fan. So it works to a certain, degree, as part of someone's art. But when it's like, when you take it as a model as an artist today, I feel like you just lose, your your you lose your brand, you lose, the perception or whatever you're trying to achieve with your art, when you're constantly impacting and, squeezing so much into the landscape. So it is that time. Oh wow, we've gone over 3 hours. So this is a long episode, but we have like 3 amazing gentlemen with us tonight. So we need to, dedicate like amazing time.
I think juggernauts is an accurate word to
Juggernauts,
use.
yeah.
Juggernauts of the synthwave.
Juggernauts.
Juggernauts.
I think Michael's the juggernaut. We're just the jugs.
The jugs.
Jugs.
The jugs.
Or the jug not.
Yeah. All right. Any final words to our audience? First of all, thank you so much, Michael, Gary, Tom, for joining us. This has been so amazing and such a huge pleasure. And yeah, I've been wanting to do an episode like this for a long time. But any last words to our audience?
Thanks for having me. The words of Jerry Springer: be good to yourselves and each other.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
I would say buy the record, please.
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 Oh yeah.
That's I will also add that as my last words. By the Honeybeard album. By Michael Oakley stuff as well. It's all excellent. It's all, top notch.
Yeah.
Stream it
And
on
also, I just
Spotify.
wanted to like give a real quick shout out to Ollie Ride, who is performing in a couple of days for when we air this episode, and him and Nina together.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, sold out show in London, which is excellent. Love seeing that. So, all right, we're gonna sign off, and we're gonna take a look at Dark Tides as our final video for tonight.
As
We're
always,
signing off.
Bye,
stay smooth,
everyone.
stay sashy, stay sexy.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.